All right, guys, since we saw you just a couple minutes ago, the National Weather Service in Birmingham's issued a severe thunderstorm warning, and that is for the storm we were just watching in Mississippi. We talked about it coming out of both Monroe County and kind of straddling the line right along Itawamba County. This is crossing into Marion County as we speak. Extreme northern Lamar County is also in this polygon. So what can you expect if you are here? We talked about it a little bit ago, and the hail is going to be the biggest threat. So remember, we talked about identifying hail. Where are you going to see it within a thunderstorm? You look for these pink returns. Now, this isn't always indicative of hail. It can be, torrentially heavy rain. But given the landscape of the storms here today, I'd venture to guess that there's at least some hail. So back just a little bit ago, this was at about, let's see, right around 8 o'clock, 8:03. Near Smithville was reported about quarter-size hail. That was from the National Weather Service office in Memphis. And, you start talking quarter-size hail, now you're getting up to that severe threshold. So that is what this warning is for. This includes Barnesville. This includes Byrd, Fulton Bridge, Hamilton, Antioch Church, Pikeville, Henson Springs. And where this is likely headed, it might even have not even touch some of the areas in the southern part of this polygon. These are tricky to warn for, but this is headed in this general direction. It's going to be over near Pea Ridge by about 8:42 here, and I'll zoom out so you guys can see this a little bit better. But again, the severe thunderstorm warning is going to be for hail with this. And when you think about how these cells evolve, hail, you got a hail core up there, right? As that all falls to the surface, there's a lot of mass. So you'll typically get a gust front as well. The winds associated with all that volume coming down to the surface will give us a decent wind gust. So we switch over to our base velocity here. There's not a whole lot showing up. Now, part of that is because we're so close to the radar site, so that could be cluttering it up just a little bit. But for the time being, this is a hail threat, and we might see this bottom out over the next couple returns where you no longer see these pink spots within the cell. There's still a lot of lightning. Got 152 strikes. In fact, if we still have our photographer here, I want to show you what's happening in the Cullman area as we look off in the distance. So Bill Castle, our chief photographer here, is in Cullman, and he's looking off in the distance at these thunderstorms. So something that's not a parameter for severe weather, because it's one of the hardest things to predict, detect. We just have no idea where lightning's going to strike. They don't issue severe thunderstorm warnings for lightning. The majority of lightning strikes, about 80%, occurs cloud to cloud. But the cloud to ground strikes are the ones that obviously impact us. What we're looking at here is a ton of cloud to cloud lightning. There's even been some cloud to ground lightning that I've seen from his shot. And again, he is right near downtown Cullman, looking off to the west-northwest. And obviously you can see here the lightning is almost nonstop. So when these storms come through, severe or not, there's going to be a lot of lightning. Lightning can cause power outages. Lightning can be very frightening. It can strike trees and have all that negative side effects here. So whether these are severe or not, you're going to have thunder, you're going to have lightning with thunderstorms that come through here tonight. So we'll keep watching this unfold as we move forward here. So you can see on the map here, this is where he is, just north of Good Hope here, right in downtown Cullman. So he's likely looking off in the distance to these thunderstorms. And look at this. I mean, this is a tight view of the radar. You got 274 strikes in the last 10 minutes. That's a lot of lightning, all right? Whether it's cloud to cloud, cloud to ground, that's going to get your attention. So just be mindful of that. I don't know a ton of people are going to be out and about here this evening. I know we do have some graduations taking place outside. This is one of those nights. If you can hear thunder, if you're out at these events, you're close enough to be struck. So you never want to stay outside or push it when it comes to lightning. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning is for this cell here, coming right on top of Byrd. And if we zoom in even closer, this is a hail core right over County Road 26. Let's see, I believe that's State Route 19 that runs north to south in the western side of Marion County. And where the hail would be, if you can familiarize yourself with this area, which is indeed a very rural part of Marion County, but is right here. That's where that hail would be, is this pink spot. And that is what the warning is for as of right now. Another cell to watch, and I'm just going to zoom back out here because we're starting to see a little bit more activity in central Alabama. If you're in Fayette, you're probably hearing some rumbles of thunder, seeing some lightning flashes. In fact, well, maybe we aren't. This is really a big shower. Not a whole lot of lightning strikes. One in the last 10 minutes associated with this. That is a good sign. Lightning is often a sign of a storm's intensification. You'll get more strikes as the storm's intensifying, more updrafts. You've got potentially hail aloft. So one lightning strike there, that's a good sign. We'll shift back further to the east. This has been the very active part of the state. Now, the reason I'm hopping over here is this has been the tornado-warned storm. Now, this is just to the north of our viewing area here. You got Albertville to the south. This will get very close to Fort Payne, likely passing north of Fort Payne in DeKalb County. But this, again, is another confirmed tornado. And these have essentially been back to back to back. So if you've got family, if you've got friends up in the Huntsville market over near Scottsboro, this is a dangerous situation. Hopefully they are aware of that. But again, this is just outside of our DMA, but a confirmed tornado for these areas off to the north here in DeKalb County as well as Marshall County. So we'll monitor that, but I want to keep our focus here on what's happening in central Alabama. So again, the reason we popped on here, because we can, on this live stream, is just to give you information. Maybe some of you have graduations tonight. Maybe some of y'all just like to go out for an evening walk. You got to take the dog out. We're just trying to let you know what you can expect here. We had a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather here today, and so far the focal point of that severe threat has been off to the north. And for folks here south of 278, it's been a good thing. For folks to the north, not so much, as it's been a very, very active afternoon. So once again, down to Marion County we go. 108 lightning strikes over the last 10 minutes here, and this one issued for the threat of hail. There's your hail core if it is reaching the ground, and it likely is. The hail may fluctuate in size down to maybe pea-sized hail at times, but this had quarter-sized hail, which is the severe threshold when it was back in Mississippi, and that's why it carried the warning. As for what's up next in the path of who could see some hail, it's coming up to Fulton Bridge, I-22, by about 8:30, 6 minutes from now, and then eventually this will be over near Pea Ridge, closer to about 8:40. And beyond that, if it holds together, we'll be in the eastern half of Marion County, and we'll continue to watch this, as well as the storm behind it into Mississippi. So that's the other question, is what happens behind this line? Well, I got to tell you, it's a whole lot of nothing. This is a great thing to see. Earlier today, we looked at this and we said, okay, there's going to be a line that forms along a cold front, and it's going to move in our direction. That line never solidified, and what was here, basically connecting the cells to the north and here to the south, is a complete void of rain, a complete void of thunderstorms. That is a good thing. This is underperforming, and hopefully it continues to do just that. That'll make your night much, much quieter. For the time being, the immediate threat of thunderstorms is likely going to be north of the I-20 corridor by a good bit, places like Fayette, places like Jasper. But this is a good sign, because I don't expect a ton of development along a line that's not really there after the sun has gone down. We do have instability, yes. Our atmosphere was not worked over by earlier thunderstorms. But if they've not formed yet, there's not nearly as much forcing with that front, and we're likely to see, limited development. So what we will watch is what's currently on the map, and that is the severe thunderstorm for Marion County, and we're also going to keep an eye out on the northern tip of Cherokee County. So here is Cherokee County. This is our DMA, so if you're watching us in Cherokee County, good evening. Most of the strong thunderstorms have stayed off to the north, but the trajectory of this particular cell could very well bring this into extreme northern Cherokee County here over the next little while. So this will indeed be something to watch. This would be essentially for areas, if it holds together, near Alpine, that's right on the state line, north of Grover and Berry Springs. I mean, you're talking the very northern tip of Cherokee. Again, if this tornado-warned storm, which currently has a confirmed tornado on it, holds together. They're continuing the severe thunderstorm warning that is currently in place. That is for Marion County, as we've talked about here. That is the lone severe thunderstorm warning for us here in central Alabama. So I'll switch back over to the Columbus radar here, and we'll zoom on in. Again, still watching for the potential hail core here, where you see those brighter pinks. Again, the way the radar works is as it's spinning around, it's sending us back what it's hitting, that radar beam. And when you have these darker returns, or these brighter returns, I should say, a lot of times that's indicative of very heavy rain, but sometimes hail. This had a history of quarter-size hail back in Mississippi, and that is what has drawn this warning here, at least for the time being. So they're going to continue that warning with evidence that perhaps there is some hail coming down. Everything else taking place in central Alabama is below severe limits. I'm going to try, since we're on here, see if I can't go to what we've got in our chat here. And I'm going to do my best to answer questions as I can go. I'm one person, so I'll do what I can here in our live chat. But, if you've got questions, you have plans here this evening, you probably want to know what's happening. In the meantime, if we have it still, we'll go to Bill Castle, his shot there, to show you one of the things that will be a part of every storm, severe or not. And this is a look at the lightning that is, I believe, to the northwest or north of Cullman. And they actually just had a very, very hard downpour there not too long ago. So again, a sub-severe thunderstorm that's near Cullman County, but one that's got a lot of lightning. And you don't want to be outside for these. I know in particular where I'm at, my house, we typically, when we get a lot of lightning, we'll have a power outage or power flickers. You'll get these surges here, so that can be impactful to your evening. But again, this is a sub-severe storm and one that will absolutely bring about plenty of lightning throughout the evening. So folks in Fayette, it looks like that cell that's moving over yours has almost no lightning associated with it. It may have a few rumbles of thunder, a few lightning strikes, but for the time being, it looks like the rain, the storms over in that part of the state are below limits. So someone just asked about Fayette. We'll zoom in here. And again, no lightning strikes here. So it's probably raining near Fayette, just north of Fayette. That's about it. We got no lightning strikes there. If you're over in Walker County, again, it very well could be raining. In Barney, in Gorgas, in Reed's Ferry, this is just to the south of I-22 here, but there are no lightning strikes. So a downpour is one thing, but certainly looks nothing threatening. We get further north into southern Cullman County. You've got near Arkadelphia. This is right butting up next to Jefferson County. Another shower. I don't think there's any lightning strikes. One lightning strike there in the last 10 minutes. And for the most part, we are looking at this one cell that's off to the north and west here for the time being. So one severe thunderstorm warning. We'll stay on until they let this expire here. And after that, go back to regular programming, or we'll stop the live stream until we have another warning in place. But for everybody asking questions, we are looking right now at a good scenario here. Are there going to be thunderstorms tonight? Yes. Yes, there will be. For the time being, there is nothing of immediate concern on this map of anything tornadic. In central Alabama, we have one confirmed tornado warning. That is up near Scottsboro and Jackson County. This is headed towards eventually DeKalb County, and it might clip extreme northern Cherokee County. But for the time being, I don't see a concern of anything circulating up here in central Alabama. It's a lot of heavy rain. It's occasional lightning, and something that we will watch. For those who have asked, Tuscaloosa, there is absolutely nothing to the west of you. There's no reason for me to think that there's going to be rain or thunderstorms there anytime in the short term. Same for Birmingham, Alabaster, Calera, Columbiana. For those over in Anniston, Jacksonville, Weaver, Sacs. Those are one of the locations that earlier, people were asking me, hey, we got a graduation outside at around 7 o'clock. How are we looking? Well, for the time being, there's just nothing over there of note. So that's why we're here. We're just trying to watch this and keep you informed. I know you hear thunderstorms, it starts pouring rain, and of course you have questions because we're under a severe threat here this evening. But so far, central Alabama looks okay. For those of you just joining us, we were just here talking essentially about a severe thunderstorm warning in Marion. I'll get back to that in just a second. This is the tornado watch, and it includes every county here in yellow until 1 a.m. Now, what they'll probably do in the National Weather Service is they'll gradually peel away this tornado watch as the threat diminishes. So it'll be to the northwest first, areas to the south and east. Counties omitted include Chilton, include Perry, include Coosa, Tallapoosa, Randolph, and Chambers County. Every other county in central Alabama is part of this severe thunderstorm warning. So the Vernon-Millport areas, I'm getting questions on here. I'm trying to glance back at our chat whenever I can. We have this thunderstorm that's actually just moved past you. In fact, Vernon, Millport, Silligent may all be about in the clear. I look here at the radar, and you look back to the west, and there's just nothing happening in Mississippi. And I don't have any reason to think that we're going to all of a sudden see convection build or thunderstorms build in that general direction as we move forward. So we very well could be seeing the end of the rain in Vernon there in Lamar County. And for those of you, asking about strong thunderstorms here, and severe thunderstorms, if need be, James is here. He'd come hop on if this is immediate threat. My job here is to just communicate the best way I can to you guys that right now things are okay for the most part. We've got some dangerous storms in the northern part of Alabama, up near Scottsboro. That's where we have the confirmed tornado. Most of our live stream those watching in central Alabama. That's why I've been keeping it here. And the severe thunderstorm warning that's in place, this is just north of Pikeville. This just passed over Fulton Bridge. This was the initial reason why we came on, and the only threatening storm in central Alabama. There's your hail core if we have it. We got about 55 lightning strikes. And for those of you asking about Huntsville getting tornado warnings, yes, that market has been incredibly busy. I'll pan up there in just a minute. But there's what the severe thunderstorm warning is for. Let's give a time of arrival here if this were to hold together where it is headed over the next about 30-45 minutes. Eventually this would be moving into basically right on the county line of Marion, Winston, and then northern Walker County there by about 9 o'clock. So we'll continue to watch this as we move forward here. I'm going to hop on over, since folks are asking about it, to the cell over in DeKalb County, because this has been, the more threatening area so far this evening. It's amazing to me that there's not a huge distance from, Coleman, from Bluntsville, from Baileyton, up to the northern third of the state where we've had these tornado warnings. It is that close of a gradient between where very rough weather has been versus a much quieter setup here in central Alabama. So this is the current tornado warning. It is flashing in that pink, purple, whatever color you'd call that, because it is confirmed. And this is for Jackson County. This is for Marshall County. Marshall County being a little bit closer to the circulation. Switch over to our velocity product here, and it's kind of messy, but you also have some change in terrain here that could be messing with the radar. The radar site is just to the north, and this is looking down towards areas of possible circulation. But this is going to be headed towards extreme eastern Alabama. I'll draw where I-20 or 22. Look at me not knowing highways. I'll draw. This is 59, and eventually it will cross over near Valley Head, New Home. And with time, this will move into Georgia. There is a slight chance that this clips extreme northern Cherokee County. But, if you're south of this line, Fort Payne, you're probably going to be right on the cusp of being included in if the warning does extend. But if you're south of Fort Payne, I don't think you have a threat with this this particular cell. So we'll keep watching that for our friends that are off to the north. For those of you who have asked about the shoals, boy, it's been a long evening there. I'm going to switch over to reflectivity here. And I got to tell you, once you get past this cell that's just to the southeast of Russellville, I think we're probably about done with everything here in the shoals. There is no meaningful storms that will develop back here. Florence, you're good. Russellville, you're just about good. This whole area has been worked over, even all the way over to Athens, Hazel Green. These storms are pushing to the east, and a ton of energy has been expelled from the atmosphere, and I don't expect any development behind this, if anything, in severity. For those of you in Coleman County saying it's loud, I'm sure it is. I'm not sure if we still have Bill's shot, but he is in the Coleman area where this severe thunderstorm warning has included parts of Coleman County, so it includes South Vinemont. It includes Baileyton. It includes Centerville. That is Centerville in Coleman County, not in Bibb County. Simcoe, Brooklyn, County line. And, that's for this thunderstorm that could potentially have some hail as well as some gusty winds. So it appears that cell in Marion County is weakening, according to the National Weather Service. That's who we work very well with. We have an excellent group at the weather office in Birmingham. They're incredibly helpful, help us do our job very well. So big shout out to them. And they're the ones helping us watch all these cells. So for those of you asking, I'll go back to the big view here. We'll switch over to the Birmingham radar, reset this. We have one severe thunderstorm warning, well, two, one in northern Coleman County. You also have one in Marion County, both for hail, potential gusty winds. The Marion County cell appears to be weakening. If you are south of the line I'm about to draw on this map, we don't have anything going on. And really, take I-59 in south, nothing. I-20 in south, nothing. If you're in Clanton, there's nothing, and there's nothing back to the west right now. Could that change? Of course it could. Do I think it will? Not really. We don't have a whole lot in the way of thunderstorms developing back into Mississippi, and very similar to if you're standing next to a river or creek, you see a log floating down in the middle. At some point, that log is going to be right in front of you. So we do the same thing with weather, with radars. We look, upstream. Is there a thunderstorm there? Is it going to eventually get right in front of us here? And right now there are no thunderstorms back in Mississippi, which is a good thing, and we'll hopefully continue that trend. I'm going to switch to our composite radars. This is going to show more of the national view, and we'll put a 1-hour loop, and this will give you a good view of kind of the regional shot here. And if you just watch the trend between that line, there was a shower near Starkville. That fizzled. And now you have this big gap between that storm in Marion County and then what's moving through Kosciuszko, Mississippi. So that gap is what very well may be moving over western Alabama, and you may end up rain-free in several of those counties, in Tuscaloosa County. So there is no immediate threat right now to really anywhere here in central Alabama outside of the 2 warnings that we talked about. That is for Cullman County, and that is for Marion County. So a bit of a reset here. I'm going to stop this loop. And for those of you joining us again, I'm meteorologist Devin Chickfair. I'm trying to keep an eye out on the chats here. And for those of you asking about James is here as well. He's got a stream going, and we're kind of tag teaming this. I'm doing my best to give updates for a lot of central Alabama, and simply to pass on information. That's all I'm here to do. A lot of people have questions about severe thunderstorms, and rightfully so. We talked about it all day today. So anything that comes through, you're probably going to wonder, is this of any level of severity? What do we need to know? And I'm just trying to get that out there to you guys as we head through the evening. So looking again at the current warnings that are in place. This one about to expire over in Marion County. The other one is just north of our chief photographer here, who's in Cullman. This includes extreme northern Cullman County, Baileyton, South Vinemont, and extends north into Morgan County as well as Marshall County. And the severe thunderstorm warning goes up until 9 o'clock. But if you are in Centerville, South Vinemont, you are actually clear of what would be considered the severe part of this thunderstorm. For those folks in Haleyville, Double Springs, it's probably loud there as well. We do not have a warning on anything here for the time being, but there is a pretty good thunderstorm. So what we're watching is indeed a loud evening. We've shown several images from our photographer that just shows, kind of nonstop lightning out there. Lightning's not a severe weather parameter, but it's something that scares me. I don't like lightning as an adult, and I'm sure a lot of you are not a fan of lightning. There will be lightning with storms that are below severe limits. That's just, what we're looking at here this evening. We're probably about to see this warning go away for Marion County. It looks like that has certainly weakened, and we're going to keep an eye on those storms well back to the west near Jackson, Mississippi for the potential later on. So those of you asking about places like Gadsden, here is the eastern side of the state as of now. And for the time being, there's no threat. Now, with that in mind, all of this is moving in essentially an easterly direction. So I'm going to zoom in and we'll try to track kind of the time of arrival if we even have them. So if this cell near Holly Pond stays together, perhaps just north of Gadsden, Reese City by about 9:20, 9:25. This little shower, again, probably to I-59 by 9:20, 9:25. These cells are not threatening at the moment. Doesn't mean they can't. Up towards Powell, this would be off to the north in DeKalb County, about 9:40, 9:45, right along that I-59 corridor. So for the time being, things looking very quiet in northern Alabama, at least in the Birmingham market. The concern has again consistently been up in the Huntsville market for the time being, and that looks to be where the storms will be staying for the foreseeable future. So lots happening this evening. We got graduations outside. We've got the SEC baseball tournament, which I would love to be watching. Mississippi State Bulldogs hopefully getting underway here. If you're, about to head out to Hoover, or if you're watching us on the live stream there, you got no concerns at the moment. We have nothing remotely near where that is taking place. All of the rain, all the thunderstorms have been really subdued to north of this line I'm about to draw on the screen, and also north of this line here, which is essentially I-59. So time's 8:43. We're just doing a live stream update. We talked a lot today about the potential for severe weather, and I will tell you, it came to fruition for the Huntsville market. It's been a scary evening up there. I have some friends that live near downtown Huntsville, and they were undercover earlier when that severe thunderstorm that produced a tornado moved through. And it looks like for most of the Huntsville area, you're clear. You're behind this line, and I believe these storms to be weakening and the rain to be coming to an end. The focus now will be in extreme northeastern Alabama. This one cell will be very close to Fort Payne, and close to extreme northern. So I'm gonna draw actually the northern tip of Cherokee County for those of you watching and live up in that direction. Here is where Cherokee County begins, okay? And where this would be, if it's included in the next scan, it would be the towns in this tiny, tiny corner of Cherokee County. I believe this tornado-warned storm is going to pass north of Fort Payne. We will watch it. Indeed, though, it is what we call right turning, meaning instead of moving a traditional southwest to northeast, it'll move east with a little bit of a southerly turn. That's how our wind profile is today. It's a little bit different than what we might be used to or accustomed to from a tracking standpoint, and that's kind of how these have moved throughout the evening. So this is the area of note. The scariest storms in the state by a mile are these that are coming right up on Dutton, Bellevue, and moving off to the east-southeast. Let's see what the velocity looks like here. Again, it's cluttered. We've got some terrain changes within this part of Alabama, and that can sometimes interrupt the radar beam as it's looking off in the distance here. So we'll watch this very closely, but again, this is to the north of our viewing area for the time being. This is to the south of Scottsboro. At least the strongest part does not mean this is not impacting any of you who are up in this polygon, because this is a fairly intense storm with a confirmed tornado on it for Jackson County and also for DeKalb County. So that is moving off to the east. Going back to the big picture here, to give you an update, that one severe thunderstorm warning that was in place in Marion County has been allowed to expire. For those of you saying there's a lot of lightning in Haleyville, you are absolutely correct. There indeed is. In fact, we are looking at a thunderstorm there just to the north of Double Springs. So if you're in that area, it is below severe limits, but 82 strikes in 10 minutes, it's going to get your attention. So we'll watch this as well, see if this pulses up at all, and follow the entire evolution of this line as we move forward. But we are looking at, I think if I had to take what I saw earlier in the forecast and what's happening now, I'm optimistic about this, about our, at least here, not the Huntsville area, but here to the south in much of central Alabama, it's not coming together. And that's a good thing. When we're wrong in this sense, it could be a good thing to not see that come to fruition. So yes, we will see rain and thunderstorms primarily north of a line from Fayette, Adamsville, Trussville, Anniston, points north. That's my thinking of the rain and thunderstorms the next couple of hours. What we will have to wait and see is what happens with these storms that are over just to the north of Jackson, Mississippi. How do these evolve? What direction are they headed? Will they intensify? Right now, these are the only storms with a severe thunderstorm warning on it, but the motion would take this likely to the southernmost extent of central Alabama, a little bit closer to Sumter County, a little bit closer to extreme southern hail, southern green, eventually into Perry County, but that would put it south of places like Centerville, like Clanton, a little bit closer to Selma and Montgomery, well into the overnight. So that's, again, if these hold together on these particular cells. As of now, there's nothing tornadic with anything in central Alabama outside of those cells that are up near Scottsboro. So tried my best to answer those questions on the live feed. I'm going to give one more look here at the cell that's up here in extreme northeastern Alabama. We'll switch on over to the Huntsville radar. And again, if you're near section, you get this nasty little notch here. Dutton, so here's your hail core within this, and I mean, this is one of the easier, cells to identify. It's a classic, right turning supercell. There's your hail core. There's our inflow notch and where our rotation would be with this. And if there is a tornado on the ground, probably somewhere near there based off of this radar return. And again, I might not have the best look at it because of where it is and some of the terrain changes there, but there was indeed a tornado confirmed with this. So if you know folks in that area, and for that matter, anybody that's out ahead of this, that would include Dutton, Brooks Crossroads, Henniger, I think you'll be just to the north of that circulation, Rainsville, Blake, Lakewood, Alpine eventually, and we'll wait and see. I'll stay on this live stream, and we'll wait and see if this clips northern Cherokee County. And we'll watch this very, very closely. Hold on just a second. I'm going to take a look here at some of the comments here, and just trying to keep as many people, as many of you folks out there watching our live stream, up to date. I understand following this map can be a bit tricky, especially when I'm zooming around. Not trying to give anybody whiplash here, but somebody just asked about the Brooklyn area. So, we zoom on in here, and you'll see these locations basically just north of Cullman, all the way over to just north of Roswell and Summit in northern Blount County. All of this here is part of that severe thunderstorm polygon, but there's nothing here that really has me concerned from a severe standpoint. At one point, these may have been severe. That's switching the radar, but I'm going to switch back because that's not a good look. But that is probably a loud thunderstorm. I don't see anything here that would make me think this is severe. So northern Cullman County, southern parts of Morgan County, and then even zooming out further as we look back to the west. I want to make sure that these radar sites are updating. I'm going to put this in a bit of a lapse here, make sure I've got good data coming in. And so there we have it. That's a look at the Columbus radar site. And again, you see these dark reds. These are pretty good thunderstorms coming through the Winston County area. So if you're in Double Springs, yes, it is loud. It is indeed very, very loud. And we're looking at a thunderstorm that's got a lot of heavy rain with it. If I'm not talking about your area, I'm trying my best to get to them when I can, but likely not a whole lot happening in those locations. There's a look at Double Springs, Addison. We got some good thunderstorms there. People asking about Baileyton, other locations in northern Cullman County, in northern Blount County. We got thunderstorms there, but nothing that seems of any severe limits at this time or reaching severe limits. That goes for Blountsville, Garden City, south towards Cleveland, Locust Fork, all good. Aniana, there's rain, there's thunderstorms, but they're not severe at this time, which is good news. We'll keep an eye on this tornado-warned storm that's just to the south of Scottsboro and Henniger, as we will see how this evolves, this confirmed tornado polygon that is outside of the Birmingham DMA, but how it looks as it approaches the Fort Payne area. For those in Hayden and Jacksonville and Anniston and Pell City and Talladega and Sylacauga, there's just nothing there. And I can't put an ETA on something that's just not there. We got nothing back to the west, so what I have to go off of is what's formed. And I used this analogy earlier. It's just similar to, like, if you see something floating down the river, it might be somebody in a boat. We know that eventually the current's going to take them right in front of us. Atmosphere works the same way. It's got a current, it's got a flow to it. There is nothing floating up that river. There's nothing currently in place over here, and this is the direction of which our weather's coming for places like Birmingham, Hoover, Tuscaloosa, Alabaster, Calera, Childersburg, Sylacauga. So at this time, we just don't have anything to talk about heading in those areas. The threat of thunderstorms is just confined to the north. That is how today has unfolded and gone so far for us here in Alabama. A completely different story in northern Alabama, the Huntsville market, compared to us just south here in the Birmingham market. So getting close to 9 o'clock. Evan Chickvera, we're just on the live stream here. And if you're in Lamar County, you may very well be done. I got nothing for you back behind this. You got a couple showers that have formed. If you're in Fayette County, we got this little cluster of thunderstorms here near Fowler's Crossroads. This has increased in its intensity a little bit with respect to lightning strikes. And all in all of these continue to stay below severe limits. So I'm going to take a second here and just, look at this. I'll give you the brief overview of the radar, and I'm going to put this in motion while I just catch up on some of the data here that is coming into me. I'm trying to monitor all sorts of feeds here so I can give you guys the best information possible. So there's the static view, and I'll hop back in just a second. All right, so that was kind of confirming what I thought. So we do have a radar site down. That is going to be the high top radar. That's why we were getting that kind of jumbled data there with the storms that were coming off. So we're having to use the Birmingham radar with this, and that's a pretty good ways away, but we're going to use it because, okay, so I guess we've got tornado sirens sounding in Cullman, and here would be why. So this is extreme northeastern Cullman County. So you are right in the corner of this tornado polygon here. And it is a big polygon simply because we've lost that radar at High Top and Huntsville, and we're having to look at this from a distance that's not necessarily ideal. So what do we do in this situation? We see rotation. We see it a good distance from the radar, but without a great view of it, we got to warn it just to be in case. So if you're in Cullman County and you're hearing these sirens, the people that need to be concerned are, so Baileyton, you're clear, Brooklyn, you're clear. For those near Arab, Grassy, Big Spring Creek subdivision near Lake Gunnersville, that is where this is headed. And again, it's very broad rotation. And with the Huntsville high top radar down, we're looking at this from Birmingham. So it's a good ways away here. And this is extreme northeastern Cullman County. I'm going to switch back to the reflectivity. Hopefully you can see, I'm going to draw the corner of Cullman County here to show what exactly is Cullman County right here. So if you live in this tiny corner, Union Hill, Joppa, New Harmony, that is where we are looking at this polygon being included in at this time. So if you're hearing the sirens go off in Cullman, that is the reason for that. We zoom off a little bit further away, and you can see this is moving away. This is moving right over Lake Gunnersville. Let's go ahead and take this screen full if we can, Dennis, just to give people a good shot of this. And again, this polygon, a very small section of Cullman County, but if you're there, you could be anywhere in the county and hear those warnings. But keep an eye out always on those polygons where they form. If you're in Berlin, if you're in Vinemont, if you're in Cullman, if you're in Good Hope, Hansville, essentially everywhere in the county except this extreme northeastern corner near Arab. If you're in Arab, this is coming down right on top of you. And again, this is a good ways away, this radar site we're having to use. So there can certainly be a bit of a discrepancy in what we're seeing. This radar beam is much higher in the atmosphere than it would be at High Top, but that radar is down, so we're doing our best here looking at that. So if you're hearing these go off, this is headed towards Lake Gunnersville. This will likely head right towards the Albertville area. This is in Marshall County. If this holds together, this will eventually head towards Geraldine, Crossville. That would be DeKalb County long term. And then we would keep an eye on this passing on the northern part of Weiss Lake over the next couple of hours. So that's that tornado warning that's been issued. Baileyton, you're clear. You're behind this circulation. Same with Brooklyn. I know somebody asked about Brooklyn here in the chat. People have asked about Cullman in the chat. Downtown Cullman, you're good. Really, anywhere in Cullman County, minus this tiny little notch in the extreme northeastern corner, is out of that polygon, and this is headed towards Lake Gunnersville. And we'll continue to move in that direction here over the next little while. This is the most active part of the map as it stands now. We have that confirmed tornado warning has been replaced by the new tornado warning that includes Section, Henniger, Rainsville. So if you're watching us from Rainsville, I believe I saw that as well. You are included in this new polygon. And again, we're not getting a great look at this, but this has had a history of producing a tornado. We know this supercell has been producing a tornado in the past. We have confirmation of that. So if you're in any of these areas here in northeastern Alabama, we will need to keep a close eye on that. I believe we're now on TV here. So Evan Chigvera joined by Chief Meteorologist James Spann here, and we were watching a tornado warning for extreme northeastern Coleman County, extending up towards, I think the most immediate concern in Marshall County is the Lake Gunnersville area, as a broad area of rotation is moving across parts of the county.
Let's be sure, Evan, everybody understands there are tornado sirens apparently going off in the city of Coleman. This is not even close to the city of Coleman, this tornado warning. So understand, this is a very, very, very small part of northeastern Coleman County. If you're in the city of Coleman, you're not even close to the tornado warning polygon here. So again, there's Coleman right here. That's Interstate 65. Zoom into this, Evan. Let me just show you the tiny, tiny, tiny part of northeastern Coleman County is involved here. This doesn't even include Holly Pond. So Baileyton is here. Holly Pond is down here. There's Brooklyn. And again, this is basically around Joppa. This is the Marshall County line. This is Arab right here. Ruth is right here. This is Joppa. This is Union Hill. So again, this is a very, very, very tiny part of northeastern Coleman County. So I want you to understand that if you're in the city of Coleman, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to go to your tornado safe place at this point. There's no need to take any specific action. So just be aware of that. So again, the only concern, it's this far northeastern corner of Coleman County up into Marshall County. Again, Arab is here. And we've got a really big problem tonight because the high top radar has gone down. It could be weather related. They took a pretty good thunderstorm that went right over the site. So we're having to use radar from Birmingham, the Shelby County Airport, to look up into this. But let's look at the velocity display, Evan, and we're going to, again, let's kind of expand this out a little bit. And quite frankly, it's hard to find any specific spot to focus in on here. And I'm looking to see kind of what prompted this warning from the Weather Service in Huntsville. They're saying there's just showing signs of rotation. And again, it is very, very, very broad in through here. That's about as noisy as it gets. There's just no clear evidence of a tornado, but we are weakened tonight. And again, the high top radar going down has nothing to do with the Birmingham weather radio issue or anything else. It just sometimes this stuff happens. Radars are mechanical. They're on a pedestal. They're constantly rotating, and sometimes with severe weather they can go down. But I want to point out the other areas in tornado warnings up here, Evan. This is in northeast Alabama. So let me talk about Fort Payne. So we have the purple polygon here, which means that this is a confirmed tornado. And again, exactly how that's confirmed, we don't know at this point. But you can see Fort Payne, downtown Fort Payne, is not really in the polygon here. The main concern, it's north of Fort Payne. And again, I know that there are sirens going off. A lot of the legacy systems, the entire county, the sirens sound. And tornado warnings are based on polygons, not entire counties. So for everybody that's watching us in Fort Payne, understand you're right here. The main threat is going to be to the north. So again, if you're in Mentone, if you're in Valley Head, Sylvania is here, Rainsville is here, Section is here. Again, just understand that there could be a tornado in here, and based on that flashing purple, there's apparently some type of confirmation that the Weather Service has received. And this is what Ashley up there at the Weather Service in Huntsville is telling us now. Tornado debris is being picked up on a private radar system between Section and Sylvania. And they believe that there's a tornado on the ground in this area right in through here. Section is here, Sylvania is right here. And again, we'll be moving in this direction here. So if we have a tornado down, it's going to be crossing US 11 and Interstate 59, somewhere around Valley Head, going up on Lookout Mountain around Mentone. So again, if you are in that part of DeKalb County, be aware that we have a tornado warning in effect, and this is a blue polygon, meaning this is confirmed by a private radar showing debris being lofted between Section and Sylvania. So let's go back down to that Coleman County warning real quick, Evan. I wanted to take a look at that. And again, this is mainly for Marshall County. This is Joppa here. Joppa's in Coleman County. Arab is across the line in Marshall County. And again, we probably have hail falling at Arab. All of these storms have hail and strong gusty winds, tremendous amounts of lightning, but that's a hail shaft that's sitting around Arab. but there could be some broad rotation here. We'll peek at the velocity, and again, you're not going to see much. Again, this is not really a classic tornado signature here, but remember the radar beam is way off the ground. The radar beam is far, far off the ground. In fact, I will pull up the radar and look and see exactly how far off the ground it is. You know, Evan, sometimes we're crippled. Sometimes things happen. And again, we've got the high top radar that is down. So let me peek at Birmingham, and I'll, at that particular spot in Cullman County, it's over 5,000 feet off the ground. So we don't really have a good low-level sample here. Typically for this area, we'd look down here from high top, but high top has gone down. So I would imagine here in a few minutes they'll be able to take that Cullman County part out of the warning. And the reason, we apologize for those on television trying to watch some TV program, but whenever there is a tornado warning for any county in our television market, we go on TV. And that's what we're doing here. We're also streaming on YouTube and Facebook, where most people are watching. But again, we're on the TV side because of this small part of Cullman County and a tornado warning that also includes Marshall County. And again, this will ultimately, this is US 231 right here. This is ARAB, and this will be moving on to the east. The city of Guntersville is right here. This is Highway 431. This is Albertville here. Boaz is down here. And this tornado warning polygon does include Guntersville and Albertville in the 431 corridor. And as you know, we've had tornadoes tonight up in the Tennessee Valley and Huntsville, and it's been a very rough ride for our friends up in the Tennessee Valley in Madison and Huntsville. And again, I tell you what, Dennis, if you would take WEX 05, let me just show you what's going on up here. In case you've not been watching the live stream that I've been on, I've been serving the Huntsville market with another live stream, but we'll take WEX 05, and this is going to show a tornado that moved through Madison and Huntsville. And there we go. Thank you, Dennis. So check this out. This is what they've been dealing with up here. I mean, goodness gracious, this looks like a tornado that you might see in Kansas or Oklahoma. It's very visible. Most Alabama tornadoes are totally rain-wrapped. And again, this was taken west of the city of Huntsville earlier this evening. And at that point, the Weather Service in Huntsville declared a Tor-E. A Tor-E is a tornado emergency for the cities of Madison and Huntsville. And again, that tornado has produced a lot of damage. We've seen damage to homes. We've seen some damage to apartment facilities, complexes there. But the good news I can tell you is the fact that we have not heard of any specific reports of injuries at this point from Huntsville. But again, this is more video taken from around Madison and Harvest in the western part of Madison County. That's the tornado that came through some very densely populated parts of the city of Huntsville. And the reason I'm showing you this, I just wanted you to understand that these storms have been producing tornadoes this evening. So for every tornado warning polygon, you've got to take it seriously. This stuff means business. The atmosphere, the profile, the wind profiles favor tornado formation tonight. Oftentimes when you get these summer-like air masses in mid to late May with spring-like dynamics from April or March, you can have a pretty rough night. And some of the analogs we've seen for this event include May 27, 1973. For that particular event, we had a horrible F4 tornado that came through Greensboro and Brent. Center Point, northeast of Birmingham, had a tornado. So these type events have produced these tornadoes in the past. So let's go back to the radar. Just wanted to show it, and we got a lot more video. And again, thanks to everybody for taking the time to do this. But since we are still on television, and again, looks like we've still got the warning here, but let's look at a big picture. Let's just kind of do a reset here. It's 9:06, and as long as Cullman County stays under, that little bitty part of Cullman County stays under a tornado warning, we'll stay on the television side. When that goes away, we will stay on YouTube and Facebook. So the encouragement here is to follow our ABC 3340 YouTube channel and the ABC 3340 Facebook page. That way you just can watch us when we're not on television. But Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, Gadsden, no problems. But the activity has been trying to form into a line here. It's really having a hard time. Quite frankly, it's pretty interesting in that Mississippi is really quiet. And what you see in Walker County, Winston County, Marion County, northern Cullman County, northern Jefferson, thunder, lightning, there could be some small hail, but there's nothing severe. Remember, to be severe, you need 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater, or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. We don't have that in these storms, which is good. And the only warnings we have in the state are these up in northeast Alabama and a severe thunderstorm warning for the northern part of Cherokee County, north of Weiss Lake. So, Evan, let's go back into this thing. And again, we are watching multiple storms up in northeast Alabama. And again, we have this particular storm that is approaching US 231. Evan, looks like they've taken Cullman out.
Yep, they just did, just a minute ago.
Yeah, so Cullman County, that little snippet of Cullman County, it's out of there. So what we're going to do, Dennis, and for those watching on the television side, we're going to let you watch regular programming. We have no severe weather in the ABC 3340 television market. If we need to come back on, we'll come back on, but we'll be back on television at 10. But if you want to keep watching our coverage, go to the ABC 3340 YouTube channel. That's the best way to watch us. If you've got a Roku, Apple TV, just get on YouTube and follow ABC 3340. You can watch us there, or the ABC 3340 Facebook page. So for those on television, let's go back to regular programming. We'll see you on the digital social side. All right, and so we're back. Again, it's 9:08, and we are going to stay with this and understand in the digital social world, there are no boundaries. And one of the things that I have worked on doing is taking care of the whole state. And that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my career. And I love everybody in Marshall and DeKalb and Jackson counties. These are just amazing places. I do schools statewide, and these are my people. So we're going to stay with this. I've been live on my streams, the James Spann YouTube page. Wow. Let's take, is that Bill Castle's camera, Evan?
Yeah, I believe he is up
Holy
near Cullman.
Holy smoke. Did you
Light
see
show.
the lightning on that? Yeah, let's hold on to Bill's live shot for just a second. We've got Bill Castle, who is in Cullman tonight, and Bill is looking back to the northeast into that thunderstorm complex that is producing very heavy amounts of rain. And listen, if you are in West Point, Battleground, Vinemont, Lacon, Holly Pond, Berlin, understand, I know it's pouring. And you've got this basically nonstop lightning show going on here. But remember, just because you've got heavy rain and loud thunder and frequent lightning and maybe some small hail, that doesn't make a storm severe. If we warned for every storm like that, then nobody would pay attention. But again, that's what's happening in northern Cullman County, but the tornado warnings are northeast of there. All right, so let's go back to the radar here. And again, Bill Castle, you can see the, somebody was asking, what does the car mean on a radar display? That's Bill Castle.
I popped that up there, thought it'd be a good reference.
No, that's good. We can track Bill. So it's big massive storms coming really on top of Sand Mountain here. Boaz down here, Albertville, Gunnersville, US 431, Lake Gunnersville. We'll pop on the velocity, but it's really noisy. And we have to be really careful when conditions are like this, because we're not going to get good signatures, because again, the radar beam is almost 7,000 feet off the ground from Birmingham. We've lost the high top Huntsville National Weather Service radar. And it has nothing to do with staff shortages or the Birmingham weather radio situation. This is a weather-related issue, apparently. But this polygon for Marshall and DeKalb does include Sand Mountain, Gunnersville, Albertville, that US 431 corridor, and into DeKalb County. Again, Fort Payne is here. And there's another warning to the north, but Fort Payne is basically not in either one of these things, in the city of Fort Payne. I know you're probably hearing sirens, but there's no immediate danger, and if you're in Fort Payne, you really don't need to do anything at this point. If you do, I'll tell you. But Geraldine is here. Crossville is right here. This is Fife. And again, we've got broad rotation that's coming off of Sand Mountain down into the valley and then ultimately up onto Lookout Mountain here. And again, this is Interstate 59 here. This is US Highway 11 here. Downtown Fort Payne is here. We've got the flashing blue up there, Evan, and what do you know what report prompted that?
No, I was following it like you were too, and we lost the high top radar a little while ago, and we use a network of radars. We've got the Columbus radar, we've got the radar site that's up there on high top, that's the Huntsville area, and then of course we have the Birmingham radar, which usually gives us a great look. This is that northeastern corner of Alabama where if we don't have high top, we start to get pretty far away from the radar and the beam is tilted. So eventually we're looking well up into the thunderstorm and it doesn't give us the best data. But this was at some point confirmed. and that is headed towards the Valley Head area in Fort Payne. I do believe, I just want to jump back to the cells over here because there's some rotation in the Walker County area. There's not currently a warning, but I've been looking at this one, and it is suspicious enough to get my attention. So I'm going to go first to the reflectivity of this, and you look here, it's a little suspicious, right? You got a couple little hooks, notches in there, but it's messy. This is a view from the Birmingham radar. I'm going to see what it looks like from Columbus. Perhaps a little bit better view there from the Columbus radar site. You go to the velocity, and tough to see here, but this is very, very broad rotation. At this time, not seeing a warning. We do have somebody in the chat saying that there is rotation being reported by a chaser there. So for what it's worth, the folks at the National Weather Service office, which indeed are there and are watching this very closely, are keeping us up to date on what's happening here. So there is a look from the Birmingham radar, and this would be right over the Hilliard area. Again, there is not a warning in place right now. But I've been watching this separately while we cover these storms in northeast Alabama. And these are starting to have some broad rotation to them. And as James mentioned, the atmosphere is such that we do have enough energy. The wind profiles do favor this rotation and perhaps right-turning type tornadoes here and cells as we go through the evening. Another area, again, of broad rotation. This is up on the Winston-Coleman County line. Again, we're a good ways away from the radar, but it is something to watch. So those two areas for those at home, that they do not have a warning, so I'm certainly not saying there is a warning in place, but it's just stuff that we watch for evolution. So there's some rotation there, and there's some more there. And of course, that is coming into the Jasper area, and it's something that we will watch. Let's do a little time of arrival on these because they are, if nothing else, I mean, there's plenty of lightning. We talked about that live shot there, and lightning, again, not a severe weather parameter, doesn't mean it's not impactful. Indeed, it can be, and it will be a byproduct of every storm that we see tonight, severe or not. So 9:30, that would be coming towards 65, just south of Coleman. If you're in the Jasper area, this is going to be on top of you within the next 5 minutes or so. Again, broad rotation, but not a warning on this. If it holds together, eventually getting to I-65 near Warrior, about 9:50, 9:55. So these are two potential thunderstorms that could pulse up, that could eventually give us something worth watching. Again, we try to stay ahead of this stuff and see it and give you the best information possible. For those of you asking about areas further to the south, if you haven't heard your town, that's probably a good thing. You want to be left out of the conversation. Everything is geared north. Everything is north of I-20. Everything is north and west of I-59 for the time being. They have extended the tornado warning to include extreme northern Cherokee County, James. So this very, very northeast corner of New Moon, I believe that's Burgess.
We got to go back on television.
All right, so we'll hop back on.
So Dennis, we'll pause for a second. Let's go back on television. All right, we're back on the TV side here. It's 9:15. We apologize for interrupting programming, but again, it's a commitment we have here. We have a tornado warning in effect now. This is for the extreme northern part of Cherokee County. This is one of our counties in the Birmingham television market. And again, you see the flashing blue-purple line here, which means this is a confirmed tornado. So let's kind of expand this out. Let me show you why the Weather Service in Birmingham has done this. Again, we have this area of rotation back in here that's coming over towards Sylvania, and we've got multiple little hooks and kinks in this thing. But again, we're hearing noise that it's getting really rough in Sylvania, and there could be a tornado down, and a private radar has shown some debris being lofted here. And that tornado is headed toward the Interstate 59 corridor, and again, which is right here. This is US 11, that's Interstate 59, and that will be crossing out of DeKalb County into northern Cherokee County. This is for basically the northern tip. This does not include, and again, if you're in Cherokee County, understand this does not include Center, Leesburg, none of that. It doesn't include Galesville, doesn't include anywhere around Weiss Lake. This is basically Broomtown North. So from Broomtown North in the northern tip of Cherokee County, you've got a tornado warning here. And again, this is a confirmed tornado based on the data from the National Weather Service in Huntsville, which covers DeKalb County here. And that could impact, really basically the northern tip. Basically this little spot right here, which is north of Berry Springs, which is on the east side of Lookout Mountain. So that's the reason we're back on the television side. So let's expand this out, and we have Multiple tornado warnings in effect here, so let's kind of look at all of these. We were on the air earlier for a tornado warning for the northeastern corner of Cullman County. The city of Cullman was never under a tornado warning. The warning for the northeastern tip of Cullman County has gone away. The concern now it's for Marshall County. And again, we have U.S. Highway 431 here. We have Gunnersville here. This is Albertville. The lake is right here. And that will keep on moving across the line. This is the DeKalb County line. This is DeKalb County. This is Marshall County. Again, you've got Geraldine, which is right here. This is Crossville. And that will be ultimately coming out toward Interstate 59. So just be aware. There is a tornado warning in effect for Marshall and parts of DeKalb counties. And again, this is for areas primarily, again, Rainsville is right here to the south of Fort Payne. Fort Payne is right here, just to get your bearings straight. And understand, Fort Payne, there's another tornado warning polygon just north of you and one just south of you. You're kind of sandwiched in between these, but there's no immediate danger for Fort Payne. Again, this northern potential tornado could be clipping the northern part of Cherokee County, which is the reason that we are here on television. So we have tornado warnings in effect now for a pretty good chunk of Marshall County. There's a separate tornado warning over here that includes Grant and Langston. We have a tornado warning in effect that includes Sand Mountain, Gunnersville, Albertville, over into Geraldine, Fife, Crossville. And we've got a tough night tonight because of the radar outage. Again, the Weather Service at High Top, the Weather Service radar that typically covers this part of the state, it's down. We don't exactly know when it's coming back. We hope it comes back soon. We simply don't know that. And accordingly, we are having to use radars from farther away, which means a higher beam height. And the higher the beam height, the lower low-level sampling that you get. And the beam is more diffuse, which makes it fairly tough. But let's go back and look at the velocity here. And the Weather Service in Huntsville is indicating that there's some rotation on top of Gunnersville, and it's pretty noisy. And again, it's going to be noisy. The radar signatures will not be clean in this kind of situation here, but there's broad rotation around Gunnersville, and that will be moving on to the east. And again, that will be affecting places like ultimately Geraldine, Fife, and Rainsville if this stays down. So one of the things we just want to stress tonight is to respect the polygon. I know you're tired of me saying that, but it's the truth. You've got to respect the polygon. If you're in one, go to a safe place. And I know it's not convenient to do on May 20th at 9:19 on a Tuesday night, but if you're in a mobile home, you can't stay there. You've got to go to a shelter or a business that can serve as a shelter. This can be a gas station, a convenience store, fast food restaurant, some place that can be a shelter if you don't have a shelter. So no mobile homes and no cars. The worst possible place to be during a tornado warning, it's a mobile home or a car. So please, if you're in a mobile home, you need to leave now and go to a shelter or some type of place that can serve as a shelter. And if you're listening to us in a car, you want to just pull off, same thing, gas station, convenience store, any place will offer better shelter than a vehicle. And wait until these storms pass. I know it's very inconvenient, but it is what it is, and you don't want to take any chances. It's been a very rough night. We've had just a lot of tornado issues tonight up in Huntsville, in Madison County, and parts of Limestone County. Even at noon today, we had a tornado up around Waterloo, up in the western part of Lauderdale County. But again, these are the approximate arrival times of the storms coming into DeKalb County and then ultimately coming over here, possibly crossing over into Cherokee. We'll just have to wait and see. So this is the southern storm with that rotation near Gunnersville. And again, looking up here at the northern storm, there's been reports of rotation around Sylvania. And again, that's coming over here toward Valley Head, which is here. Mentone is up here on top of the mountain. Mentone here, Valley Head right here. Again, that's US 11, Interstate 59. But this ain't easy, Evan. I mean,
No.
You get used to having good low-level slices of radar, and when you lose one like high top, it becomes a real problem. We also have choices of looking at this from Nashville or Peachtree City or Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi, but the best shot we've got is the Shelby County Airport from Birmingham at this point. We've got reports of dime-size hail at Highlands Medical Center in Scottsboro. Up in Jackson County with these storms. But let's kind of do a reset. Let's look at the reflectivity, and let's just kind of look at the whole state. If you're in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Gadsden, Anniston, no problems. Now, we do have a new warning, a severe thunderstorm warning for Walker County. We'll take a look at that. This is going to be a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, we've got potential for large hail falling along Interstate 22, just southeast of downtown Jasper. That's Interstate 22, you see right here. And that's a hail core. And again, there's an inflow notch here. And sometimes on the back edge of these things, you can have little spin up tornadoes and sometimes larger tornadoes. There's no tornado warning in effect here. But again, there is evidence of broad rotation right in through here. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's currently in effect for parts of Walker County. This will include Jasper, Dora, Sumiton, Sipsey, Empire, Cordova. And just watch this thing very carefully. We'll do that. But again, inflow notch. If we have any circulation that would get down, it would be back in this area right here. But most likely large hail is falling just to the southeast of Jasper. That large cross on the interstate is right here. And again, Cordova is down here. This is moving on to the east, and this will likely affect ultimately maybe places like Dora and Sumiton and Sipsey with large hail. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Walker County. Let's take Bill Castle's camera if we can. This is Bill is in Cullman, and we've got strong storms coming into Cullman, not severe. We have no warnings in effect for Cullman County, but again, we've got probably some small hail falling just west of Interstate 65, and obviously tremendous amounts of rain and the nonstop lightning show that you're seeing here. And it's pouring along Interstate 65 in Cullman County right now, and that will be coming through Hanceville and then ultimately into Blount County, but there's no evidence of any rotation. And I know that earlier, if you live in the city of Cullman, you heard sirens, but Cullman, the city of Cullman, was never in a tornado warning tonight. There was a tiny, tiny part of Cullman County in a tornado warning up there at Joppa earlier. And apparently it's a legacy system where they sound the sirens county-wide. But again, there was never a tornado danger at Cullman. And again, the warnings are to the north. So let's go back to the radar. And again, for Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, all of this is dropping south, and this will ultimately be coming through in that 10 to midnight time frame. Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, 10 to midnight. And again, even though it's getting later at night, all modes of severe weather are still possible. The chance of large hail, damaging straight line winds, and possibly a few tornadoes. Most of the CAMs, by CAMs, that's convection allowing models, they suggest all of this will evolve into a long line. And if it becomes linear, the main threat will be from damaging straight line winds. If it stays somewhat cellular, then the main threat would be from isolated tornadoes. And again, you can see these tornado warnings in effect up here for parts of northeast Alabama. We have one warning in effect for parts of Marshall County and DeKalb County for possible rotation around Guntersville that would be moving over toward DeKalb County, places like Crossville. And then we've got northern tornado warnings in effect. Above that, we have one for northern Marshall County. And again, that northern Marshall County tornado would include Lake Guntersville. And then another one over here that would include Valley Head and Mentone for what's been some rotation near Sylvania coming over toward Interstate 59. We are in a weakened condition tonight because of the lack of radar data from Huntsville, Evan, and it is what it is. It is what it is.
You know, you get tools to work with, and you got to do the best you can with those tools. And that's exactly what we're doing. That's what the folks at the National Weather Service are doing. And essentially, the reason they extended that confirmed tornado warning polygon is because in the Huntsville market, a law enforcement officer confirmed that there was a tornado indeed on the ground. That's where that report is indeed coming from, and that's why you're seeing this purple polygon here, this blue, however you want to look at that color-wise, in extreme northern Cherokee. Again, we're looking at this from a good distance. One thing that will be part of every single thunderstorm tonight is lightning, all right? As we've seen over the last several hours, there have been a tremendous amount of lightning strikes. They have their own impacts associated with them. It's not part of the severe criteria, but can nevertheless be very impactful. So this is the tornado warning that is for areas like Albertville, Asbury, Double Bridges. This just moved over Lake Guntersville. And for the time being, it's just really noisy. You see those areas where there's gray, in between the red. This is looking up very high into the storm. So sure, there's probably broad rotation. No reason to say that there's something down there. But of course, the history in this part of the state earlier today would suggest, taking this seriously. The respect the polygon thing, James mentioned earlier, you might be tired of hearing that. It's a great thing. It saves lives. And for the amount of time you can spend, in your safe place, this will move on. You can go about your evening afterwards. And that's what we want to hear, everybody do. doing. So for folks in Walker County, we've been watching this one as well, getting noisy. Folks in Coleman County, it's noisy as well, but it's below severe limits. This one probably has some good hail on it. I've not seen any reports just yet of the hail here in Walker County, but when you see these bright pinks, that's a pretty good sign that the radar beam is hitting something. Very, very dense rainfall or a hail core, and more than likely a hail core here. This is right over Corinth, just north of Cordova, south of Chapel Hill. This would be headed right towards Argo, and it looks like that some of this with this particular cell could be some side lobe contamination, and it may not be rotating as well as as potentially thought, which would be a good thing. We got to look at this from all different aspects here. So we'll switch to the velocity, and that looks decent, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's not some side lobe happening here with that hail in place in this cell. So there's no doubt some hail coming down, the size of which I'm not sure of just yet, but plenty of lightning as well with this particular cell moving through Walker County. So if you're there, you're probably hearing this. We are looking at a thunderstorm that has really pulsed up here over the last 30 minutes or so. So that severe thunderstorm warning includes places like Chapel Hill, Corinth, Cordova, Kershaw, Argo, Sipsey, and this will be heading east and potentially southeast. There's a bit of a southerly turn to this. That's thanks to the actual profile in the atmosphere. The steering of this is having it become a right turner, so we'll watch for that. If you're in Oak Hill, if you're in Gamble, Calumet, Bankhead, Parrish, Hilliard, this is past you. You're in the polygon, but it is moved past. For those in Coleman County that have been asking about that, we do indeed have a pretty good thunderstorm. I can see off in the corner of my eye our photographer there. Oh boy, just an absolute sideways drenching. You can see the rain just sweeping across the intersection there. And these thunderstorms are, they're strong. There's plenty of lightning. There's some 30-mile-an-hour winds with that, but they're below severe limits. In Coleman, within the next 30 minutes or so, this will all be past where you're at. So to give you an idea of where that shot just was, there is our chief photographer, smack over Coleman. So again, give it another 30 minutes and we should be clearing out in the Coleman area. And we've talked about the tornado warnings in the northeastern corner of the state. Been a very loud night for our neighbors, our friends up in the Huntsville market. And we're continuing with this cluster of tornado warnings here. That's in northeastern Alabama. This includes a very, very small section of northern Cherokee County. If you're in Weiss Lake, you're good. If you're in center, you're okay right now. The threat for this tornado is in a very, very remote part of Cherokee County. That includes areas north of Grover, Berry Springs, north of New Moon, and this is coming up to the Georgia state line. And really the storm in focus here is back towards Lakewood. And we don't have a great look at this. We're way away from the radar site here at Birmingham. So what you're looking at is 6,000-7,000 feet up, and there could be rotation there. It doesn't mean it's translating to the surface, but they're keeping that there to be smart and to make sure people take this seriously. And this is again the northern fringes of where we're watching here in the Birmingham 3340 DMA. To the north, Valley Head, Henniger, that is the Huntsville market, and soon to be shifting into the Chattanooga or Atlanta market. So back to the big picture here. That severe thunderstorm warning that's in place, it looks like if you're in Jasper, you might be in the clear there as well. Let's zoom back into this one. This has been the more recent warning in place of the ones that are in central Alabama. We've seen a huge uptick in lightning. If you were with me about an hour ago and I zoomed in on this was in Fayette. Not a lightning strike, not one. And then all of a sudden there were 30 and then 50. Now we got 98 strikes over the last 10 minutes. And you'll get lightning. An uptick in that can sometimes show a strengthening of a thunderstorm. It can also be an indicator that we have hail. You got those hailstones bouncing around, hitting each other. That's giving off these differential charges, and you'll get a lot of lightning as a response to that. So near Argo, we've got what looks like a hail core still going here. It's a little bit less than it was just about 5 minutes ago, so that's a good sign. But that also could mean that we just saw that hail dump out just to the south and west near Cordova Church, just north of Corinth. And this continues to head off towards extreme northern Jefferson. If this holds together here, this is just an approximate time of arrival with a little bit of a southerly movement, primarily easterly. This would be just south of Warrior by about 9:50. That's 20 minutes from now, somewhere between Warrior and Kimberly near Morris. And this would pass north of the Birmingham area should it actually hold together moving forward. That is the only new warning that we have. It's not new anymore. It's been in place for a while now. But if you're in Walker County, if you're in Jasper, this is past you. do not go outside. There's so much lightning with this, and these lightning strikes, they can arc out away from thunderstorms. You just don't want to be messing with this amount of lightning on the map. 150 strikes in this frame over the last 10 minutes. And that is certainly what you're hearing there if you're in Walker County. If you are in Coleman County, as we have mentioned, there's another thunderstorm coming through there. We have our chief photographer out there, and it's been just a nonstop light show. Looks like the winds are backing down. With every one of these storms, if you think about it, when that hail comes down, or that heavy rain comes down, all the mass in that storm comes down with it. And that's why the winds will pick up. Now, for the most part, they've been below severe limits, 30, 35 miles an hour. That'll get your attention there in Coleman, but not up to the 58 plus miles an hour that meets that severe weather threshold. So starting to wind down in the Coleman area, which is good news. If you're in Winston or Marion County, you might be done as we look back to the north and west. Good storms have come through there, worked over the atmosphere, and probably limited any future development as we look off to the south and west. For those who've been asking about the conditions in Tuscaloosa, in Pickens County, in Greene, Hale, and Bibb, even in Jefferson, there's just nothing happening there as of now, which is a good thing. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods. There's just not a lot happening yet, and as models have indicated, we might see development in emerging. We're kind of seeing that right now with what's happening in northeastern Alabama. So we had a little check here on this this tornado-warned cluster here in northeastern Alabama. For those watching us up there, this is coming up on the Geraldine area, and Oak Hill, Dawson, Collinsville. I know we have some folks watching from Collinsville that have been chiming in here. I'll try to pinpoint where that rotation might be, and it's actually, I feel like, fairly decent given our distance from this location here. So two areas perhaps within this polygon that look suspicious, just south of Geraldine and just south of the Kilpatrick area. Again, tough to pinpoint, but this would be headed right towards Collinsville here within the next, let's give it a time, about 9:45. So that's coming here in the next 10 to 12 minutes. And if you are in, Collinsville, if you're in that general area, get to your safe place. This is up in DeKalb County to the north of Cherokee County, which is just south. Looks like it's going to be passing just to the north of Weiss Lake. You've got a lot of people who live on Weiss Lake, and a lot of folks, now that it's close to summertime, probably staying here. I have some friends that do that, but there is Weiss Lake, there is Cedar Bluff, and this particular cell is likely to maybe clip the northernmost part of Weiss Lake. We'll have to see. There's a bit of a right turn element to these based off of the wind profiles, and that could take this, just to the north of Cedar Bluff. Again, we'll see if this holds together. If it does maintain its current motion, it'd come right up through Powell, right after Collinsville, and perhaps enter northern Cherokee County there, just to the north of Cedar Bluff and Weiss Lake area. So again, an active night. It's been one certainly for the Huntsville area. I will say, if you're behind this cluster of tornado warnings, it looks like things are winding down for Scottsboro, for Stevenson. For the Gunnersville area, just had that intense thunderstorm come through. Huntsville, you appear to be done with that severe threat. What we'll have to watch now is how far south do these storms build? Do we see a linear feature form as these continue to move? As they do they intensify? Remember, our atmosphere here in central Alabama, it's been largely untapped. There was no convection earlier to work over or get rid of that energy that's in place. So even though we've lost daytime heating, there's still an unstable air mass in place, and thus we have to stay vigilant for potential severe development. So this is a look at the big picture for those of you just tuning in. It's just after 9:30 here. We've got a slew of tornado warnings in the northeastern corner of Alabama. The only active warning here in central Alabama, or more so in the Birmingham market further south, is that one in Walker County. It is a severe thunderstorm warning, and as of now, it has had really a history of showing tremendous lightning, of course, which isn't a severe parameter, but also a lot of hail. So we're going to go to that one first, and then we'll hop on up to Cherokee County here in just a moment. So this is over near Dora Junction. This will actually pass just north of the Dora area. So right now we're looking at, I'll draw on here where I-22 is, and then where State Route 5 is. So here is Highway 5. This is just past Argo. This is near Hull, Dora Junction. So there's 5, and then here is I-22, and it's a little bit to the north of I-22. Sorry for the poor drawing there, but in general, this is going to stay north of 22, at least for the time being. This will be moving into Jefferson County And if it holds together, this will be something to watch for Warrior, Kimberly, Morris. I'm going to put a lapse on this of about 30 minutes to show you the motion that these are moving. And there's a little bit of a southeasterly shift to this. We call it a right turner. When it becomes, if it does become a supercell or a tornado, they're called right turners. And the profile in the atmosphere today favors this. It's not something that we have very often, but it is the setup here today. So instead of being a due east movement, there's a little bit of a southerly shift as well. So next up would be areas along I-65 between Warrior, Kimberly, and Morris to the south. This will likely be north of Fultondale and eventually head towards Bradford, towards Overbrook Estates, towards Pinson, eventually Clay, and perhaps just to the north of Center Point there over the next hour or so. So that's really what's happening right now in central Alabama. If you're in Tuscaloosa County, extreme northern parts of the county, we have a shower there. Over near Berry and Fayette County, we have some showers as well, nothing of any severity, but if you're asking why there's rain and storms there, it is not severe at this time, so we will move on from that. This has been the area to watch here, and reflectivity values going up here. We could be seeing perhaps some intensification. Again, if you're just joining us, the Huntsville radar high top there is down. Could be weather related. We're not sure, but we've been following this cluster of storms that has had a history of tornadoes. At least a couple confirmed tornadoes previously or earlier on this evening, and that warning includes areas like Crossville, Collinsville. This is very close now to that I-59 corridor here, and also US 11 from Collinsville up to Colbrand and eventually Fort Payne. And oddly enough, Fort Payne is kind of in the no man's land. It's not in any warning, but has a warning in all locations around it. The tornado warning still exists for extreme northern Cherokee County, including Berry Springs. This would be north of New Moon, and you can see that that tip there of Cherokee County included. And we'll wait and see if they issue downstream. The Birmingham office for this cell that's moving just to the south of Crossville. This is headed towards Flanders, and if I put a time of arrival here on this one towards Weiss Lake and Cedar Bluff, this would be not too long from now, another 20-25 minutes, and it'll be over the Weiss Lake area. Again, this is a lake where a lot of people go to vacation. A lot of people have homes there, similar to Lake Martin. And then of course you have the town of Center there, which right now looks to be perhaps just to the south of the track of this, but when it comes to these right movers, you just never know. And because our view is so displaced on radar, we just have to take it seriously. So if you get in these polygons, they're moving pretty quick, between 35, 45, and I've seen storms up to 50 miles an hour in motion. They will be upon you quick, but they'll be past quick. And then we can go about the rest of our evening, whatever might be planned here. So back to the big picture, I think there might be an update to the severe thunderstorm warnings here, and I think that will include portions of Jefferson County, likely downstream of that Walker County cell. So this is likely to include Bagley, Morris, Kimberly, Warrior. We'll wait and see when that populates onto our map. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I misread that. That is for Cherokee, Alabama. They're keeping the severe thunderstorm warning there. So right now, nothing for Jefferson County, nothing for Birmingham. In fact, this is all going to pass north of Birmingham. Aniana, you have a good downpour there, but nothing of any severity. Coleman, you're just about in the clear. Hanceville, you're about to be in it. Johnson's Crossing, also in it. Bluntsville, a good downpour, some 30, 35 mile an hour wind gusts are possible. Holly Pond, Brooklyn, Baileyton, all dealing with some heavy rain, lots of lightning, but below severe limits at this time. Gunnersville, you are now finally in the clear after that warning, and we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee County that includes all of Weiss Lake. It includes the town of Center. It includes Cedar Bluff, Galesville, and essentially everywhere north of downtown Center. So this is going to be, a big chunk of Cherokee County.
Best crappie fishing in the world's in that lake.
I'm about to say, some wonderful fishing, beautiful lake. Been up there.
It's incredible. I mean, I love Weiss Lake. So, Evan, I thought I've been working on getting some new images coming in here. So I want to take Wexo 5 real quick. Thank you, Dennis. Check this out. How'd you like to have this on your doorbell camera? That's terrifying. This is Brownsboro. This is up in Madison County. That's a big tornado. And again, this is the tornado that came through parts of Madison County, the town of Madison, and Huntsville earlier tonight. And again, we've got some pretty remarkable scenes here. This is some of the damage coming in from the Tennessee Valley. Again, a lot of this damage is around Madison and the northern part of the city of Huntsville. But for all of those asking, I've heard of no specific reports of anybody being hurt. And again, this is more video coming in from near the Limestone-Madison County line. This was as the tornado was really not too far from the Buc-ee's exit along Interstate 65. For those that have been up Interstate 65, most everybody knows where that is. That's just south of Athens. And that kept on moving into Madison County, and the Weather Service in Huntsville issued a tornado emergency at that point for parts of Madison and the northern part of the city of Huntsville. And I think people heard the warning and responded, and accordingly, even at this hour here at 9:42, this all happened about 6:30 this evening, I've heard of no specific injuries. Understand there could be, but we just don't know about them. This is what the storm looked like coming through Athens. I mean, you can see that looks like a landfalling hurricane right there. Tremendous amounts of wind, and most likely that wind is wrapping into a nearby tornado. And obviously the advice is not to be in a vehicle like that, but that's a pretty scary scene in Limestone County. And again, that's the storm that dropped the tornado just east of there. And again, that's what so many people are seeing this evening in so many of these videos that we've seen. I wanted to show one more really quickly that kind of perhaps is the best one we have seen, and it's this one. And again, this is going to give us a pretty good view of that tornado as it goes into the western part of Madison, the northern part of Madison, the western part of the city of Huntsville. And again, that's what these storms have been producing today, and we just wanted to let you see that, to let you know that there's certainly potential for this. The wind profiles favor tornado formation, and we've had that this evening up in the Tennessee Valley. And it could be, as the storms drift south, the main concern kind of shifting, damaging straight line winds. But if you're under a tornado warning polygon, you got to respect that. So let's go back to the radar. We're at 9:44, and we now have a tornado warning in effect for the northern part of Cherokee County. It is for this cluster that is coming out of DeKalb County. And again, Interstate 59, US 11 right here. The town of Collinsville is here. And what's going to happen, we have rotation near Collinsville, and that's going to be crossing over into northern Cherokee County. So we're going to be keeping it here for those people in the building. We will be on television at least until 10:45. This will include, looks like, Evan, a small part of Etowah County is involved in this. So we have a small part of Etowah County. And again, the community of Black Creek is here. This does not include the city of Gadsden. We want to make that perfectly clear. Attala, no. Gadsden, no. Rainbow City, no. You can see Gadsden's way down here. The tornado warning is in effect for a tiny part of northern Etowah County. So some of the older legacy systems, they sound the warning county-wide. Again, this will not affect Gadsden, Rainbow City, South Side, Attala, no place like that. That's for the extreme northern part of Etowah County, Keener, Black Creek, into northern Cherokee County. This includes Center, this includes Leesburg, Cedar Bluff, Galesville, Weiss Lake. So if you are in the northern part of Cherokee County, north of Center, you need to be sheltered right now. I know it's very inconvenient, but it's a course of least regret. You want to be in a small interior room, hall, closet, bathroom, lowest floor, near the center, no windows. Put on a helmet, a bike helmet, perfect. If you have a batting helmet, a football helmet, a motorcycle helmet, most people that are hurt in tornadoes or killed, it's blunt force trauma above the shoulders. So a helmet is important. You cannot be in a mobile home. If you live in a trailer, you need to leave and go to a nearby shelter. And if you don't have a shelter, go to a gas station, a convenience store, fast food restaurant, any place that can serve as a shelter. So again, we want no one in mobile homes. We want no one on roads. Cars, worst possible place to be. If you're driving, just pull off, stop at a gas station, stop at a convenience store, and just ride this thing out and use that as a shelter. So basically, all of Weiss Lake is in this polygon, all of the surrounding communities around Weiss Lake, Center, Leesburg, Cedar Bluff, Galesville. And also there's a separate warning up here for the northern tip of the county. So extreme northern Etowah right here, there's Black Creek, and then into the northern half of Cherokee County. This does not include Spring Garden or Goshen. This is the northern half of Cherokee County. And we have a situation where there's rotation near Collinsville, and the radar signatures are not the best tonight, but they're going to be noisy. That's the way it is, and because of the noisy radar signatures, we're not going to be able to call out a lot of landmarks like Joe's Barn and the Walmart and things like that, and the barbecue joint. But we'll understand, just respect these polygons. If you're in one, you need to be sheltered. So possible rotation, possible tornado near Collinsville along US 11, Interstate 59, about to cross over into the northern part of Cherokee County in the extreme northern part of Etowah County. Again, we stress Gadsden, you're not in the polygon here, south side, Rainbow City. No, this is far, far the northern tip of Etowah County. So let's look at our camera, Dennis. If you got one, let's take it. All right, that's Goose Pond. And again, we've got, yeah, I would imagine we've got a pretty good lightning show going on there. Rain is coming down. Let's go to Bill. Is that Bill Castle's camera? Okay. All right, let's go back to the radar very quickly. And let's jog up to the north. I wanted to show the northern tornado warning too, in that we have a small part of northern DeKalb County under a tornado warning. This is a separate warning for possible rotation up here near Mentone and Valley Head. And again, that circulation is about to cross over into Georgia, but if you are in Mentone or Valley Head, you still need to be sheltered. Again, it's hard to see things on radar. Typically, we'd be looking at the high top National Weather Service radar just north of here, but it's down. It went down during a thunderstorm this evening, so we're having to use the Birmingham NextRad site, which is a long way away. Radar beam height is probably 10,000 feet up and through here, so we're not getting a good low-level sample. So we're kind of flying blind to some degree, and we're just kind of, a lot of warnings are coming out based on some broad rotation here, but based on the atmospheric conditions, it's the right thing to do. So again, to the south, we have Fort Payne, is in a tornado warning polygon. This includes a large part of DeKalb County. Fort Payne all the way down Interstate 59 to Collinsville, then back out here toward Crossville and Geraldine and Fife. So a pretty good chunk of DeKalb County is under tornado warning. And again, that extends over into northern Cherokee. Any damage, Evan? I haven't seen any.
Nothing yet. They are concerned, it seems like, about that cell that's right over Collinsville. National Weather Service in Birmingham urging that folks in western Cherokee County take cover. Again, what we're having to do, just like they are, is they're looking at this from a limited view. You know, we have a radar site down, so we're having to see this at a higher profile. So there could be rotation within the mid-levels of this storm. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's at the surface. But we don't know that, which is why we say, absolutely, with certainty, get to your safe place. I was just talking with somebody in the Collinsville area. They're in their safe place. It looks like they're going to cancel the northern warning for Cherokee. That was the one that we were just talking about there with James up in the extreme northern corner. That would include the Berry Springs area. But they're going to keep the focus on the southern half, what we've been talking about, and that's this cell that's headed towards the Weiss Lake area. So the fact that this is messy, it's cluttered, and we still can see at least some evidence of rotation within here, and I'll try my best to kind of draw that as it is a fairly large area. You know, James mentioned we can't necessarily talk about specific landmarks, but right in here is the suspicious area and where we will have to watch as this moves closer to the lake. So this is going to come, I mean, right across Weiss Lake here in a little bit of the next several minutes. I'll draw a time of arrival here, but even this far up, this far elevated into the atmosphere, you can see that almost a little hook at the very tip. So there's nothing to say that this certainly couldn't have a tornado on it. By about 10:05, this would put it right over the center of Weiss Lake near Cedar Bluff, north of center, and eventually taking this to the eastern side of the lake by about 10:15. So we still have another about 25 minutes or so before this is going to be clear of a big area here. So if you are on Weiss Lake, if you are right up against the eastern side of, or northeastern side of center, this is the cell that has the most concern as it moves off in an east to, again, southeasterly motion. It's not a typical motion that we see here. A lot of the supercells, they move from southwest to northeast because of the profiles of the winds. Today it's a little bit different, and so these will hook to the south. So again, right on top of Collinsville, and this is about to cross into locations like Sand Rock, head towards Anderson, Leesburg, and eventually crossing on the northern, northeastern, northwestern shores, that is, of Weiss Lake. So again, get to your safe place. This will be in effect here for the next about 30 to 45 minutes before they peel this away. The actual warning goes until 10:45, and we will stay with it. And that goes for our newscast. It's supposed to air at 10 o'clock. As long as there is a tornado warning in place, we're going to stick with this. Again, if you're just now joining us, I'm Evan Chigvera with James Spann. The most urgent storm of note is this one up here coming into Cherokee County. This would include all of Weiss Lake, and just to the north of downtown center, Cedar Bluff, Galesville, Antioch Estates, Alpine Shores. If you're along Weiss Lake, this is affecting you. This is right over Collinsville and about to move to the east of Collinsville. For those of you wondering about storms elsewhere, they're about to let this severe thunderstorm warning go, I think, in Walker County. We'll zoom in on this just quickly. I don't want to forget about our folks that are elsewhere. We're doing the best we can to keep everybody informed and give everybody that information here. So this is the last little, and really this is probably, they just expired this for Walker County. So this is gone. This storm bottomed out. You can tell by the size of it, there's no longer those high returns, and the lightning strikes have, minimized greatly. So no longer severe. There's a look at the metro and points north. So everything at this time that is not these storms listed in northeastern Alabama is below severe limits. So with that in mind, we go back to this particular cell, which honestly appears to be ramping up. A pretty decent return there. This is what would be considered a typical hail core within this supercell. Again, it's a messy view that we're looking at. Again, we're potentially 5,000 feet or so off the ground, the way the radar beam works here. So we're looking at a rougher outline view of this thunderstorm. But your hail core would be right here, just to the northeast of Collinsville. This is right near Powell, and this could be displaced a little bit because of the distance and the tilt of these thunderstorms. They're not perfectly vertical. There's a tilt to them. So the circulation could in fact be down here near Leonard, and the motion with this is off east and southeast here, headed towards basically the heart of Weiss Lake here, a little bit after 10 o'clock. So Cedar Bluff, need to be in your safe place. If you're staying anywhere on Weiss Lake, be in your safe place here, as this is headed in that direction very quickly. For those of you in Etowah County, I know that there's a tornado warning. It's a very small northeastern corner. It includes Black Creek. It includes Greenwood, although Greenwood, you're going to be behind where this concern is. Tabor, you're behind this concern. Really, the area of concern is right here coming over Leonard. Collinsville, you're just about in the clear, but you're still right on top of, or it's still right on top of you as it stands now. If you are near the Lookout Mountain Parkway, that is an area where this is crossing right over County Road 36, Indian Creek Avenue, Ewing, Sand Rock. This is headed in that general direction, about 35 to 40 miles an hour. We appear to have some decent hail with this, though I do not have any confirmed reports. We're keeping a very close eye on everything that is happening here within the National Weather Service chat, within our Skywatcher reports, and as of this time, do not have anything solid. But I got to say, this far away from the radar site to see these returns, there's good evidence here. And these things, they pass quickly. Get to your safe spot here. We'll walk you through it. We'll get through it together. And then on the other side, we can resume whatever evening activities we indeed have. So there's a look again at the cell in question. We'll go over to our velocity to see where that could potentially be. And
I see that they put a new tornado warning out for DeKalb for this thing too, Evans. So there's let's go back to put that radar behind me, Dennis, if you can, real quick. Again, we're at 9:55, and understand if you are in Sand Rock up on the mountain, you need to be sheltered here. The Sand Rock is right here. This thing is crossing over out of DeKalb into Cherokee County, and anywhere near the school up at Sand Rock, you need to be in a shelter right now. There's probably large hail falling, but there could be a tornado. Let's look at the velocity again one more time. And again, we're a pretty long way away from this, but again, there's evidence of rotation right in through here near the school at Sand Rock. And again, that'll be coming down off the mountain down into the Weiss Lake area. So again, if you are anywhere around Weiss Lake on the shore, north, south, east, west, doesn't matter. If you're in Leesburg, Center, Galesville, Cedar Bluff, you need to be sheltered for this. And again, this is a tornado warning. The warning will continue until the storms cross over into Georgia. The one good thing about these things, they're moving pretty quickly tonight, but there's a lot of concern about this particular thunderstorm here. So for the extreme southern part of DeKalb County and northern part of Cherokee County, let's expand this out a little bit and just kind of show exactly who's under a specific warning here. We've got, again, Fort Payne, you're technically in this polygon, but this tornado is going to pass well to the south of you. And up here, we have a confirmed tornado, Evan. Do you know what the confirmation on that one is? I mean, this is the one that's up here at Valley Head and Mentone. And when you see the purple flashing polygon, that represents the fact that it's confirmed. And I don't know whether that was a spotter report or what, but we're going to have a really hard time seeing debris being lofted because this radar beam's 10, 12,000 feet off the ground up here.
Yeah, this one was confirmed debris on radar, signs of rotation, and there potentially debris aloft on radar. So that was coming from Huntsville. I don't know if that's that private radar we referenced earlier or what, but that is, I believe, what the confirmation is on that. So we'll keep watching.
Okay. So in fact, let's look at this real quick up here, just for the folks that are watching in Mentone and Valley Head. I would stay sheltered for about the next 15 minutes. And again, Valley Head is here, Mentone is up here. Valley Head is in the mountain, that's US 11. Mentone is here, and this will be in Georgia soon, but I would stay sheltered. And again, you can see that this polygon extends down into extreme northern DeKalb County. But again, the concern is right up in here, and it's just noise. We're getting so much noise with radar tonight. This is not easy. We're basically flying blind. Then down to the south, that other rotation is down in through here. And again, this is correlation coefficient. That's noise. We don't really see any debris being lofted on the Birmingham next rad here, which is a good thing. That's all down a radial from the radar, so I don't think we have any confirmation of this. But there could be a tornado near Sandrock, and again, that's going to come down off the mountain, down into Weiss Lake, the valley down here. So once again, Cedar Bluff, Galesville, Leesburg, Center, you want to be sheltered. This will be in Georgia fairly soon, and these are the only tornado warnings we have in the state. Let's look at a big picture and kind of reset this. The warning for Walker County is expiring right now. I mean, you can see it's just a sliver, and at 10 o'clock here in, let's see, in 30 seconds, 40 seconds, it will be expired. But the storms in Walker County and northern Jefferson and parts of St. Clair are producing a lot of noise up here around Steele and Chandler Mountain, Horse Pens 40. Noisy, loud thunderstorms, but that's not why they're severe. A storm can be really noisy with really weird-looking clouds, and they can be obnoxious, but that doesn't make them severe. To be severe, you have to have 1-inch diameter hail or larger, or 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater. And we don't have any of that with these storms coming to the Birmingham metro, which is a really good thing. For those of you in Tuscaloosa, we just don't see any development to the north and west of Tuscaloosa. Could you get away with nothing? Yeah, you might. That would be pretty awesome. You should be counting your blessings if that's the case. But again, so you can see why the greatest concern is up here well to the northeast of Birmingham. And the reason we are on TV is that one of our counties, Cherokee County, the northern part of Cherokee County, right here is under a tornado warning. And this ultimately, it's coming into Gadsden right now. Same thing, if you're in Gadsden, the city of Gadsden, you're fine. We have that tornado warning for a tiny, tiny sliver of northern Etowah. But in fact, that just went away. That's gone now. So that little sliver of Etowah County is out of the warning. If you're in Gadsden, Attala, Duck Springs, it's not nice. It's rough. Look at the lightning count. 682 strikes in the last 10 minutes in this zone right here. That's a bunch of lightning here. It's nonstop, but again, no sign of damaging wind, no sign of a tornado if you're in Gadsden. The one warning we have, the only warning we have left is this one. Even if you're in Valley Head or Mentone, your warning is gone too. So we're basically down to one warning in the entire state in terms of tornado warnings, and it's this one. Tornado warning for parts of northern Cherokee County. And this warning is, Evan, what, 10:45 on this one? I think it's 10:45.
Yep. 10:45.
So again, until 10:45, maybe they'll cancel it sooner, but let's look at velocity. Again, this is reflectivity. We'll pop on the velocity. And again, it's awfully noisy. We have had reports of rotation with this coming through parts of DeKalb County and over toward Collinsville and Crossville, and that's crossed over into Cherokee. And based on those reports, the Weather Service will keep this going for a little while longer. But again, the good news, the tornado warnings for all of DeKalb County over. If you're in Fort Payne, Mentone, Valley Head, you're good. No tornado warnings. They're all canceled. We have no tornado warnings at all except this one. And I'll shoot straight with you for it to be 10 o'clock tonight and we have one tornado warning. That's living right because conditions were pretty prime for tornadoes with this event. Still, understand there could be some more, but so far so good. But still, and the minute we can give you an all clear, we'll do that. And again, because of the radar issues we've had tonight, it's hard to be really specific. And again, I just can't show a specific point here. But again, based on the atmospheric profiles, I think the right thing to do, course of least regret, is to keep the warning going for a while longer. And again, we'll see if the Weather Service decides to cancel this perhaps a little earlier. So again, we have a tornado warning that is in effect for northern Cherokee County for the ongoing storms. And tell you what, let's go back to WEX 05 real quick. I want to show you what the day has been like if you are maybe just getting in and kind of strapped in here. It started with this thing. This came out of nowhere. This was at noon today. That's at Waterloo. I love Waterloo. It's a great school, a great community, and that's up on Pickwick Lake, the far northwestern corner of the state. And this one little bitty isolated supercell, tiny, produced that drill bit tornado that came through parts of the far northwestern part of Lauderdale County. And then we had this in Huntsville this evening, Madison, Huntsville. The Weather Service calling a tornado emergency as this tornado came through parts of Madison and the northern part of Huntsville, a very densely populated part of Alabama. And to my knowledge, as of this hour at 10:04, I've heard of no reports of any injuries coming from the Weather Service, coming from the EMA officials that we have on the line here. We've heard of no injuries so far, which is a really good thing because understand this thing did come through a very, very populated area. And this was about 6:30 this evening. The Weather Service called that tornado emergency. And the tornado lifted and then it possibly got down again in Jackson County. And again, this same storm, by the way, is the one that came over the radar site at High Top. And we've lost the High Top radar. I don't think it was hit by a tornado, but apparently perhaps weather had something to do with that. And again, all these videos were taken just to the west of Huntsville. And this is really different. If you've been here a long time, you know that most Alabama tornadoes you do not see because of hills, trees, and rain that wraps around these things. So I just wanted to kind of give you a review of what's been going on throughout the course of the day today. This was some of the video taken again from Madison, and we've got just dozens and dozens of these remarkable videos. And to everybody that's taken the time to send these, thank you. You are our window to the world. So let's go back to the radar, and we've got basically one warning, a tornado warning in effect for northern Cherokee. Let's look at Blount County. I want to look at velocity real quick. Saw some chatter about some rotation there. Not really seeing much there. Nope. Which is good. We just don't see any sign of any rotation here, which is good. Let's pop the reflectivity back on, but you got heavy rain for sure. Again, might be some small hail falling here along Interstate 59, not too far from Steele, near the St. Clair Etowah County line. But again, this is the area of concern up here in Cherokee County. And we probably got maybe some pretty decent hail falling right in here, Evan, around Weiss Lake and Cedar Bluff. That's good hail core.
Ooh, yeah, it is. We were talking earlier about this. When you see these really bright returns, right, the radar beam, as it rotates around, it's sending us back basically a definition of what is within that thunderstorm. When you start to see pinks and whites, that's a good bet that not only is there very heavy rain, but likely some ice, some hail within there. And based off of the classic structure of a supercell type storm, this is exactly where it would be. You've got right here would be your hail core. All right, this is the kind of the front edge of the storm. This is coming into Cedar Bluff, and then our rotation is likely down here in this little notch. Now, again, we've talked at length about this. Seeing this from a distance doesn't give us the best resolution, but hey, that's what we got, so we're interpreting the best we can, just like the National Weather Service offices in Birmingham. So certainly looks like there's some hail with this. Again, haven't had any reports. We do have some folks up in Cherokee County that watch us pretty regularly, so if there is anything, I'll keep an eye on my message for anything like that. I don't see any reports from someone in Collinsville. Looks like they're okay passing after that tornado warned storm passed right over what appeared to be the Collinsville area. It is now bearing down on Weiss Lake. So all of the lake here, if you're staying on the lake, big travel destination for folks. Beautiful lake too, and we got that tornado warned storm right on top of the lake here. This is Anderson, just to the, looks like just to the west of where that circulation would be. And again, looking far up into this storm, it's not the easiest to depict where that rotation may be. I'm going to draw where I think it's most likely. It's a very broad area here, but it certainly could be within this area where you're seeing these little gates of a different color coming up near Pathkiller Cove, Cedar Bluff. That's the area we're watching for that broad rotation. And again, up in the atmosphere, this may be rotating but not actually reaching the ground. But because this has a history and this has looked good, take it seriously. It's not going to last for too long. It's moving about as quick as you would on the road, and that means it will be out of here pretty quickly. So once again, this tornado warning is in place. I will say this, if you're back towards Leesburg, this appears to be past the concerning part. If you're in San Rock, this appears to be past your location. You're in the polygon, but the concern is going to be behind this area right here. So if you're out in front of this line, stay in your safe place. Behind here, the center of this, the rotation associated with this particular storm appears to have moved along. But we've talked about this too, the lightning. I mean, we're zoomed in pretty tight here. 256 strikes in the last 10 minutes. That's a lot. And again, you don't warn storms for lightning, but nevertheless, they're a big byproduct of what we're seeing here tonight, and absolutely going to be, part of any thunderstorm that we have here. And we're getting reports of lightning strikes from the EMA up in Etowah County, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, with all the lightning that's out there. But tornado warning continues if you are over here near Pathkiller Cove, really anywhere on Weiss Lake. Be in your safe space. This is going to move across the lake very quickly. Here's essentially where it is now. This is let's see, State Route 68 that goes from near center up towards Cedar Bluff, then eventually goes off towards Cornwall. This will be headed towards Alpine Shores, Waterhouse, and then that is the Georgia line. This will very soon be out of Alabama, and folks in the northern half of the state probably cannot wait for this. Within the next 20 minutes, I think this will be leaving the state of Alabama, and this could be the only warning of note by that point. But again, a tremendous amount of lightning, likely some hail. As we look at the reflectivity, pretty much no doubt here that we got a hail core with this. And if you've never been in a hailstorm or been around, quarter golf ball size hail, it is not fun. It is very destructive. Plants, certainly your windshield, and you don't want to be out in this. So a classic setup when you have a severe thunderstorm like this. You've got that hail core displaced to the north and east of the center. They've now trimmed that tornado warning polygon. So who is in the clear now? As I mentioned before, Anderson, Bristow, Leesburg, all in the clear. Sand Rock in the clear. Center, you're actually just outside of the tornado warning polygon. Center, you are in the clear. Now, if you live just outside of center, near State Route 9 that heads over towards Pathkiller, or County Road 69 that heads towards Cedar Bluff, you are still in the polygon, and we are still likely looking at some really, really good hail in place right beneath where these pink returns are. Again, the ice, the hailstones that are up within the thunderstorm are going to send back a different return, and we interpret that based off the color, and no doubt likely a hail core here near Cornwall headed towards Galesville, Lawrence, and this is going to run right along State Route 9 from Cedar Bluff towards Farrell and the extreme eastern part of Cherokee County. So this is the last warning, I believe, of note. I'm going to zoom back out just to make sure I'm not missing anything here across the rest of us.
This is a win. I mean, let me tell you what, Evan, I honestly thought at this hour of the day, based on these atmospheric conditions, we'd have more warnings than this. And again, let me just say, it's been really, really bad up in the Tennessee Valley. Limestone, Madison County, and the Jackson County. It's been rough. Multiple tornadoes, a lot of damage. It's been bad. But we have been very blessed. Take a look at this. Here we are at 10 o'clock, and we've got the line of storms basically from Jefferson County north and east. There's nothing happening over here in West Alabama. If you're in Tuscaloosa, could you get away with no rain at all? That's a possibility with this. And the goodness, that's a win. Nothing happening back off to the west in Mississippi. So again, it looks like the better dynamic forcing is beginning to pull away to the northeast. And while, yes, indeed, we have thunder and lightning and it's obnoxious and you can't go to sleep and it's pouring and you don't like it, it's not severe. In the Birmingham metro, we have no large hail, we have no damaging wind. We only have one warning, one in the whole state, and it's this one for northern Cherokee County for the storm that's sitting on top of Weiss Lake. And I've been watching social media like a hawk, and I've received thousands of images and videos, and I'm so thankful for all of them, but I've not seen any specific tornado-type damage out of this storm. Hail, yes. Some downed trees, yes. But again, I've not seen any type of structural damage, which is certainly a really good thing here. And again, so many folks have been so kind to send all these images in here, and we'll be sorting through those later tonight and tomorrow. This is the velocity display, and again, it's kind of a noisy situation here, but there's obviously nothing to focus on. But I think the Weather Service will probably let this ride for a while longer as it goes into Georgia. And again, this has been a challenging evening. I'll just say for a lot of different reasons. The high top radar has gone down. That's the radar that serves it's out of Huntsville in Jackson County. It went down. We have the Birmingham weather radio outage as part of a planned software upgrade that they couldn't move. The Birmingham forecasters had to go to the Weather Service in Peachtree City where they're issuing the warnings tonight. There's been a lot of logistical issues here. It's been a challenging night for those of us in the weather enterprise, but again, we're thankful that at least so far in the north central part of the state, we've gotten away without anything major. But again, we're focusing right. The reason we are here, again, we don't like to come on here and hear ourselves just yak away. We are here for a tornado warning, and we got the tornado warning in effect now for northern Cherokee. This does not include Spring Garden. This does not include Goshen. This is for the northern part of the county, for Weiss Lake and the communities around Weiss Lake. And again, this includes Leesburg, Cedar Bluff, Galesville, and Center. And this will be in Georgia soon. And at 10:45, when this warning is over, just maybe we'll have the last tornado warning. I don't know. Evan, what do you say?
I hope we can say goodbye. I hope you guys can watch some other programming except us two, because that means there's not a problem out there. And that was absolutely what we would love to see, things winding down. As James talked about, looking back towards central Alabama, there's just not a lot happening. So if you haven't heard your location talked about, if you're in Tuscaloosa and you're concerned, we haven't even had a drop of rain in the county in over an hour. So it's been a very quiet go of it. And again, we're just waiting on this final cell that is in place. So we'll give this a little rundown very quickly here. If you're in Center, this is past you. Pathkiller Cove right on top, Cedar Bluff right on top, Lawrence right on top. And what we're looking at is this might be the most notable part of the cell is this hail core here, or what appears to be a hail core, that displaced area of pink, almost magenta that's over near Galesville. We're continuing to watch this. The cell that went over, Leesburg a little while ago. This one, a lot of lightning, heavy rain, but no reports of any hail to this point.
I want to pull a trick here. Let's go to WEX 05. This is FFC. This is Atlanta's radar. Oh. And that's really giving us a better presentation of the rotation right in through here. And again, you can see that rotation is pretty much right on top of the lake, Cedar Bluff and Galesville. In fact, let me animate this and you can kind of see the progression of that. And the Atlanta radar has done a pretty good job of looking at this. In fact, we'll back it up and you can see the rotation coming out of DeKalb County into Cherokee County near Sand Rock. and then it continues over into the Weiss Lake area around Cedar Bluff and Galesville. So I just wanted to show that single site radar coming out of Peachtree City, which is gives us a lot better view. I mean, we're just looking in different angles in this thing, and I think the Birmingham Shelby County radar is having to look through so many storms. There's an attenuation problem where coming out of Peachtree City at that angle there's no attenuation. So the bottom line is we can just see it better that way. So again, this is the reason we have the tornado warning that's in effect for Cherokee County in northeast Alabama. We've got that rotation, clear rotation. It's clearly spinning like atop the storm. Now, whether there's a tornado down, we don't know, but you know, considering the circumstances, the best possible thing to do is to simply stay sheltered. And soon, in fact, I'll give an all clear right now. If you're in Sand Rock, you're good. Leesburg, you're good. Center, you're good. I'd like to give some all clears here. So again, the all clear for Sand Rock, Leesburg, and Center. And soon we can give an all clear to Cedar Bluff and Galesville. Not quite, but soon. And this is the Alabama-Georgia state line right here. And look at all the lightning strikes. So again, we have, signs of what could be a tornado in here in Cherokee County in northeast Alabama, Cedar Bluff, Galesville, Georgia state line. It's going to be into Georgia here in a matter of 5 or 10 minutes. So I think there's a decent chance the tornado warning will be canceled well before 10:45. I'd say it's going to be canceled by probably 10:30. We'll see how that plays out. So we're just going to stick with this for just a couple of minutes with a radar scope here, which gives us the single site view coming from FFC. And that's the reason we're here. We are here for a tornado warning that's in effect for Cherokee County. But again, the good news, Center, Sand Rock, Leesburg. Come out of the shelter, come out of your safe place, take the helmet off. You're good. Still pay attention to the weather and understand the risk of severe storms is not over. We've talked about how things are very quiet considering the fact it's 10 o'clock. We thought we might be busier, but additional storms are starting to form over in Pickens County. And again, some of the high-resolution guidance, the CAMs, are suggesting that West Alabama could fill in with some storms over the next few hours to make a solid line statewide from Mississippi border to Alabama border. So real quick, let's go back to Links 1 and wanted to show the big picture Evan's got here. And let's look over into Pickens County and see, you see we're starting to see some development here, and that's not that impressive. It's just one shower, but we've seen evidence that this whole area could fill in. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Newton County, Mississippi, that's west of Meridian, and that could wind up into Sumter County, but this whole thing could very well fill in with storms. And again, most likely is everything fills in and we're linear. The main threat will be coming from strong, potentially damaging straight line winds and not necessarily a tornado. But again, in any situation like this, you got to watch these suckers like a hawk. But again, Tuscaloosa, you have really fared well with this. And if everything fills in, you certainly could catch a storm. There's no doubt about that, but that might be that big line develops a bit south of here. So let's go back to WEXO 5, and we're watching our circulation that is currently over the far eastern part of Cherokee County in northeast Alabama. So for Cedar Bluff, we'll give you an all clear. Cedar Bluff, you can come out of your tornado shelter, go to sleep, watch TV, relax, have a bacon sandwich, whatever you want. But over here, we still want folks in Galesville and folks to the Alabama-Georgia state line still sheltered for about 5 more minutes until we get the circulation across the state line. Center, you're good. Leesburg, you're good. Cedar Bluff, you're good. Sand Rock, you're good. And this is the only tornado warning in the entire state of Alabama, which is a good thing. And again, the Weather Service is saying they're going to let the tornado warning ride until it exits the county warning area. And it's almost out of here in CWA's county warning area, and then it crosses over into the Atlanta county warning area right here. So back to the big picture, and again, we're bouncing back and forth between big picture and small picture, kind of watching these storms that are forming along Interstate 20 between Jackson and Meridian near Newton, Mississippi. And those have increased in intensity. The Weather Service in Jackson posting severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here. But there's this nice gap right in here that includes Tuscaloosa where there's just nothing going on. And then the heavy storms up here in northeast Alabama moving over into northwestern Georgia. And again, we've got that one shower developing near Aliceville in Pickens County. But again, for now, Tuscaloosa very, very calm, which is a good thing. Again, for those of you in Cherokee County, give us about at 10:30, I think we can say everything's out. Everything is good. Back to WEX 05 real quick, and you can see how the circulation is pretty much on the Alabama-Georgia state line right here. And again, I'm not quite ready to do this, but very soon we'll be clearing Galesville, which is over here. Still very windy, and obviously it's pouring rain. There's thunder, and there's a lot of lightning here, and there could be some hail involved. In fact, I'll pop back on the reflectivity. And it's a nasty night. I mean, this is not good. When you see this, it's just absolutely pouring. Precipitable water values are high. It is really coming down. So again, just be aware, we might have some small hail, maybe some flooding issues, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, but the circulation itself is just about on the state line, and that's going to be out here fairly soon. And again, looking at all of the reports I'm seeing here, and I've got a lot of folks that send in reports via social media. We have our sky watchers, we have the Weather Service. I'm not seeing any major structural type damage coming out of Cherokee County, which is a great thing. And maybe this storm has traversed the county without the thing getting down, which is great, which could have happened. But again, maybe something did happen. Often in a case like this, we don't know the extent of the damage until the next morning, until the first light of day, when people can actually see. It's pretty tough to see damage. It's pouring rain in the dark. So there's a look at our circulation, and the reason we are here, it's this circulation that is in Cherokee County, and we're about to get this out of here. So for those that are in the building, logistically, I don't know how you want to handle the newscast. If we're doing a newscast, I think, okay, yeah. So we're going to, at about 10:30, we can pitch to the anchors and do a little recap of what's happened during the course of the day today. We're sorry we couldn't get the 10 o'clock news on, but again, it's a commitment thing. We've made the commitment that if we have a tornado warning for any county in the TV market, we go on the air and we stay on the air. And of course, we've been on YouTube and everything else for the storms up in the Tennessee Valley earlier this evening. So it's been kind of a long night, but again, for those of you in the central part of the state, it could have been a lot worse here. So let's go back to the big picture one more time. There we go. We have thunderstorms coming into Birmingham. They're going to be noisy. It's going to be loud. You're going to hear a lot of thunder. You're going to have heavy rain. Heaviest rain is falling north and west of downtown Birmingham, Graysville, Adamsville, around McDonald Chapel, then curving back up into Morris, Warrior, Kimberly, curving over to Springville, then into Asheville, Raglan, South Side, right below Gadsden. Heavy rain is also falling west of Gadsden in parts of Etowah County. And again, we can't issue warnings for severe storms that are not severe. They're just routine thunderstorms, and thunderstorms can be obnoxious at 10:24 at night, but that's just the way it is. So let's go back to WEX 05, and the good news, that circulation seems to be broader and it's moving out of the state. So Galesville will give you an all clear. So again, and when I say all clear, that doesn't mean the sky is clear. No, it's pouring rain. We understand that. You're thinking, it's not clear where I am. We know that. But just understand that the risk of a tornado from this particular storm has ended. That broad circulation crossing the state line over into Georgia, which means that we'll lose this warning here in just a matter of minutes. The Weather Service telling us as soon as it's out of their county warning area, this will go away, and it's basically the case. So in about 5 minutes, we can plan on going to a kind of an abbreviated newscast this evening. So let's quickly go back to the radar and looking ahead to what's going to happen for the rest of the night. I do think we'll probably see additional storms filling in here in West Alabama where you don't see anything. From Birmingham down Interstate 5920 to Meridian, we'll probably see storms filling in. And with those storms, we could see some strong winds. But the good news is we get really late tonight, 11 o'clock, midnight, the big upper support, this big negative tilt trough providing the dynamic support for the big tornadoes up in the Tennessee Valley will be kind of lifting out. The dynamic support weakens, the air becomes a bit more stable, and again, the chance of a big severe weather problem after midnight will be much, much lower. Still, you got to watch and listen. When it comes to thunderstorms, expect the unexpected. I learned that a long time ago. So again, one more time back to WEX 05, the Storm is very disorganized. The wind velocity fields have come down. That very broad circulation crossing into Georgia, which is a very good thing. We'll go back to our weather graphic system behind me here, and I want to show a few more quick videos before we start our newscast and just kind of show you what's happened up in the Tennessee Valley in case you've missed it. This is Madison County today. That thing's huge. Imagine your doorbell camera recording that in front of your house. This was taken from Madison today, and we will know tomorrow the EF scale of this tornado. What happens from here, the Weather Service will send in a survey team and look to determine if this was an EF1, EF2. I don't know. Nobody's going to know that until you actually get the survey work done. This is some of the damage caused up there. You see a roof off that house, and obviously it's a significant tornado. But it was unusual in the fact that you could see it. Remember, most tornadoes here you don't see. But in this case, you could see it. Typically, trees, hills, rain gets in the way and you can't see anything. But this was fairly odd for us to be able to see that. And with so many reports like that, the Weather Service in Huntsville issued a Tornado E. That's a tornado emergency for the cities of Madison and the northern part of the city of Huntsville. This thing passed north of I-565 up there closer to US 72, the northern part of Madison up toward Harvest. And it scooted across the far northern part of the city of Huntsville over into Jackson County. And again, this is a look at the same parent storm over in Limestone County. That looks like a landfalling hurricane. Again, our advice is not to be in a vehicle with something like this, but it looks like those rain bands are wrapping into the tornado at that particular location. But this was taken from, again, Madison, just to the west of the city of Huntsville. Pretty scary stuff. A lot of folks are asking about UAH. A lot of folks are asking about specific locations. And again, once we get the specific locations, we'll certainly pass that on. So again, so far, so good down this way. So back to the radar. We're going to start the newscast here at 10:30. We'll do it. It's 10:28, about 90 seconds from now. So here's the tornado watch until 1 a.m., and this includes Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden. The Weather Service will be clearing a number of these counties to the north with time as the line of storms progresses on down to the south, and we have no warnings, none, zero. They're off the board. So back to the radar. Again, we have storms that are noisy, obnoxious, producing loud thunder and lightning, but they're well below severe limits, which is a very good thing. And again, these thunderstorms initially produced tornadoes up in parts of the Tennessee Valley, Madison, Huntsville. You saw the video of those. And again, this warning is off the board. The rotation has moved over into Georgia. And pouring rain, south side down here below Gadsden, down toward Ohatchee. Again, very heavy rain falling up on Straight Mountain down toward Springville. Heavy rain over toward Kimberly, Morris, Warrior in North Jefferson County. Look at the lightning count, 475 in this sector in the past 10 minutes. But again, they're under severe limits, which is a good thing. And since we have no active tornado warnings in effect for the entire state, and we have no other warnings at this point, we can start a newscast and do a recap of what has happened today. So it's 10:30 and ABC 3340 News at 10 o'clock, a little late, but we start now.
ABC 3340 News starts now with a Weather Authority storm alert.
And we start the news at 10 with the radar tonight. Powerful thunderstorms swept through the northern part of our viewing area, but the Weather Authority is tracking the severe weather tonight.
Let's go to Chief Meteorologist James Spann. James, what have we seen throughout the evening and what can we expect from here on out?
We have fared pretty well here. This is the current radar, and you can see a band of heavy storms now stretching from north of Birmingham, around Warrior, Kimberly, Morris, across parts of northern St. Clair County, Springville, Straight Mountain, and Blount County, back up into Shoal Creek Valley, over into Etowah, Calhoun, northern Calhoun counties, up into Cherokee and DeKalb counties. This tornado warning has gone out. That broad rotation is in Georgia right now, so we have a tornado warning in effect over here, including Rome, Georgia, but we have no active warnings anywhere in the state. However, there is still the chance of a few storms becoming severe over the next few hours, with a chance mainly of strong straight line winds. We're watching this storm that's in Newton County, Mississippi, and there's a chance we could see the line filling in between Meridian and Birmingham along Interstate 5920 over the next couple of hours. But goodness gracious, Tuscaloosa, they have been blessed with hardly any problems at all with this. It's been basically dry. But again, we've got storms trying to form in Pickens County, but so far they're having a hard time. They're well below severe limits, just basically rain showers. So again, we'll be watching the radar carefully. These storms will move south out of here after midnight, and the good news tomorrow looks rain-free. What about the holiday weekend? That forecast and much more, all coming up in minutes.
All right, thank you, James. And again, we continue to watch what appears to be a winding down scenario for much of central Alabama. James talked about the potential back to the west, and right now, just not a whole lot of evidence suggesting that these will intensify. It is an untapped atmosphere over there, but the sun's been down for a while, and that could certainly bode well for the overall setup here. So we'll go back to the tornado watches and warnings. This showing what we have actively. This goes until 1 o'clock. And what the National Weather Service will likely do in these scenarios is gradually peel away the watch. So who's been removed? Marion, Winston, Lamar, you are clear of the tornado watch. For the rest of central Alabama, in the yellow there, still under a tornado watch, but I would be surprised if all of these counties stay in here as we move forward. So what about our future view? That's what we all want to see, right? So we will try to play this forward here, and again, kind of updating this on the fly. We will take this through, let's say, Wednesday night. We'll do this up until about 11 o'clock in the evening, and that will give us kind of a good look at what tomorrow is going to have for us. So again, right now, a bit of a lull in the weather here, but as we said, you know, we could see some development down to the south, down to the west of Birmingham here this evening. In fact, this model suggesting that may happen, but looking ahead to the majority of the state here and the overall pattern tonight, we will see the rain winding down, and tomorrow afternoon skies will be clearing. A cooler air mass will indeed be moving in here for the second half of the week. So that is all good to see. The Memorial Day weekend forecast is going to feature the potential for some rain. At this point, you know, it's tough to say that it's going to be any sort of a washout. I certainly would not call it a washout, but calling for a spotty shower on Saturday, a few showers Sunday, and a more widespread rain setup potentially on Memorial Day itself. But before we can get to that, how about 58 degrees on Friday morning? I'm a fan of the 50s this time of year because it's cool and I know exactly what's coming with the 90s. So if you like the cooler air, we will have that as the week turns cooler, quieter, and calmer later on, guys.
All right, thank you, Evan and James. What a great job you guys have been doing tonight. Now, this is some video of storms and trees down sent to us from a viewer from the Huntsville area. You can see the flashes of lightning there, and we do appreciate any time you share your pictures with us. I know